comes in with a 3-1 record, and the Jets still looking for their second victory. They come in with a 1-3 mark. Good evening, everybody. I'm Vern Lundquist along with Pat Hayden. This is a homecoming of sorts for Jeff Hostetler, the Raider quarterback. He, of course, played here in New York for 9 years. Things have changed for him in Oakland this year.
Yeah, nobody appreciates this new Raider offense more than Jeff Hostetler, because the last couple of years he has taken a beating holding the ball in the pocket and waiting to get that ball downfield. And, you know, he is throwing a lot quicker rhythm type of passes. And this is a very talented offensive team, a team that can go all the way and win it all. And Jeff Hostetler said to us last night, you know, this game's important. He says we have to prove that we can go coast to coast and beat a team we should beat. And he also said our offense is absolutely waiting to explode. He hopes tonight's the night.
Pat, we were talking with Mike White last night, the new coach at Oakland. He said a little bit too much has been made about the changes in offense, but they certainly demonstrably are spreading the ball around.
Well, Tim Brown was the featured guy for so long, but they really are spreading it around. They've done that the last 4 games. As a matter of fact, in each of their 4 games this year, a different wide receiver has led them, or a different receiver. Williams in week 1, Ismail in week 2, Brown in week 3, and Hobbs in week 3. I think this makes them a more difficult team to defend, Vern, and I think it gets everybody involved. I think you play better, and I think you practice better if everybody's involved.
The Raiders, whether in Oakland or Los Angeles, have a well-deserved reputation as a haven for those in need of a second chance. They have in Pat Swilling, one of those young men.
Well, after 2 very unhappy years in Detroit, he's come here and his career has been resurrected. He said, you know, they're just letting me do what I do best, and that's putting pressure on the quarterback. 3 sacks a week ago, and he is putting pressure on the quarterbacks. But, Vern, the Jets tonight want to run at Pat Swilling. They think they can line a tight end over him and run the ball right at him.
New York Jets are going through another tumultuous time. They lost their last 5 last season, fired Coach Pete Carroll, brought in Richie Kotite, who had been relieved in Philadelphia. Yet they've struggled, Pat. They're off to a 1-3 start this season.
Yeah, and they continue to make mistakes, particularly in critical times, and that is...
Receive. Don Silvestri will kick off to start the game. That's a dandy kickoff, but it will be returned. Napoleon Kaufman has it at the 2. Back he comes to the 20. He's got some room down the near side and is knocked out of bounds all the way out to the 42-yard line by Victor Green. Jeff Hostetler, 9 years. He wore the New York Giants uniform in a battle with Phil Simms here. Finally went out to Oakland or Los Angeles, and this is his first trip back.
And Vern, I think he is a good match for the Raiders. The best match at quarterback since Ken Stabler.
1st and 10 at the 42. Harvey Williams in a slot to the left. Hostetler on a line finds Tim Brown. That's a first down across the 50 on the first down play. Tim Brown with the catch. Ismail and Brown are the wide receivers. Andrew Glover gets the start at tight end tonight. Harvey Williams and Derek Fenner in the backfield. The offensive line, Wisniewski, Turk playing in place of the injured Don Mosbar. Kevin Gogan, a former Cowboy. Robert Jenkins and Skrepanik are the 2 tackles. It's a huge offensive line, though not quite as big as that of the Dallas Cowboys. 1st and 10 from the 46. Harvey Williams searches at right tackle. He's caught and dropped at the 45-yard line. Defensively for the Jets, and this is a patchwork defensive line. Donald Evans injured and out. They've changed everybody around. Howard, Washington, Tony Casillas, his first start since back surgery, and Matt Brock. The linebackers in the middle, Mo Lewis, naturally a weak side linebacker, but Marvin Jones is injured at that middle spot. And there's Vance Joseph. He was a backup quarterback a year ago tonight to Cordell Stewart at the University of Colorado. 2nd down and 9. Glover, the tight end, in motion. Hostetler going deep and has a man open, and he overthrows Derek Fenner. Oh, boy.
Did he have him open for a touch? Clear confusion by the Jet defensive secondary, and Derek Fenner, who has been a surprise for the Raiders, particularly as a receiver, comes wide open down the sideline. He's out of the backfield, left part of the screen. Got him matched up on a linebacker, Bobby Houston, and had him beaten by 10 yards. And that's one you got to. Those are the plays you have to make. I mean, they say they're waiting to explode. Those are the kind of plays you have to make.
Darryl Hobbs, who had a big week last week with those 7 catches, is on the field right now. 3rd wide receiver.
3 down. 3 down.
Yep. And this one is behind Fenner, incomplete.
One thing on a free down, I always think you need to go deep. Throw the ball downfield. I mean, you know you have them off sides, and it's a freebie. You got speed on the outside. Throw it up there and let the Rocket or somebody get after it.
Offside, 97 defense, 5 yards, still 3rd down.
Gordon McCarter, the referee. They brought their calculators with them this week to the count to 11.
Well, he still has something in his top left pocket. Did you see that? I don't think it's Bill Cowher's film, but it's something in that pocket.
It may be Bill Cowher's name and address. And those of you who weren't aware last week, Bill Cowher, of course, this is the officiating crew that counted 12 men on a botched field goal and gave Minnesota a second chance. I know Warren Moon is in our studio smiling at that right now. 3rd down after the offside. Here's Hostetler back. Pressure coming. They got him. Hugh Douglas, one of the 2 first-round draft picks. That is his 5th sack already this season.
Yeah, and the 15th sack for the Jets this season. One thing the Jets have done is play pretty good defense and put pressure on the quarterback. He just disposes of his guy. Talk about Hugh Douglas, number 99. He is a situational pass rusher, and he's done a great job of it this year.
Here's Jeff Gossett on the punt. Fair catch called at the 7-yard line by Dexter Carter. That's inside that area where one normally allows it to bounce and hopes that it goes into the end zone. Time has been called. Were it an afternoon game, they would be literally in the shadow of their own goalpost. The New York Jets take over at their own 7. You look from behind. Boomer Esiason. And the New York Jet offense. Adrian Morrell is starting at one of the running back spots tonight. The Jets are saying it is his first start ever in his 3rd year. Technically, he was in for the first play last week in the loss to Atlanta because they called the ace formation. But Adrian Morrell is the running back with Brad Baxter behind Esiason. That's Charles Wilson in motion. Power sweep. Morrell gets it. Nice start. Eddie Anderson with the tackle. Adrian Morrell and Brad Baxter in the backfield. Charles Wilson, Wayne Krebet, and the tight end Kyle Brady, a couple of rookies. And the offensive line, Duffy Dixon, Carlton Hasselrig, who's off to a good start after a year out of football. Matt Willig and Siapeli Malamala are the tackles.
Well done.
I worked on it all afternoon.
Well done. I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
Got 80% right.
Esiason, Baxter. And they quickly get out of the hole. The Raider defense, after Derek Hoskins makes that tackle. Up front, Smith and Swilling, Jerry Ball and Chester McLaughlin, very strong inside. The linebackers, a young but talented group. Fredrickson and Beekert, along with Mike Jones. And the secondary, you recognize some of these names. Terry McDaniel, Albert Lewis, Hoskins, and Eddie Anderson. Now, Richie Kotite said yesterday, if they complete a pass, they might come back with a pass.
Yeah, he said we're going to try to keep running the same successful plays, throw the ball on successful plays, and try to get them out of rhythm.
So much for what Richie Kotite said.
Again, you can never trust these head coaches.
I
right?
know it. Guys from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Opening drives for the Jets this year. They have had one sustained drive. That was in week 2. Against the Colts. That was a game in which they lost a huge lead. They fell to the Dolphins. They came back and lost to the Colts. Then they defeated Jacksonville, and last week really disappointed with a loss to Atlanta when they fumbled twice on 1st and goal in the 4th quarter. Whoops. Swilling got him. Yeah. 3 last week and 1 today. The redemption continues for Pat Swilling.
And there is a flag down, but remember the Jets told us they were going to try to put a tight end over Swilling to avoid an open-ended rush like that. They didn't there, and he just ate the play up.
Holding, number 63 offense, penalty decline, 3rd down.
These defensive ends, Swilling and Anthony Smith, this time it's Swilling number 56, are a lot like their wide receivers. These guys have game-breaking speed. You know, Boomer looks like for a moment he's going to get away. A second effort play by Pat Swilling. And he has had an impact as he has come to the Raiders. His 4th sack of the year.
Long-time All-Pro. with the New Orleans Saints. 3 sacks last week. 2 really tough years in Detroit. Here's Esiason on 3rd down. That ball is tipped and incomplete, and the Jets will have to punt. So a running play that went awry, and then Pat Swilling's 5th sack in his 5th game has pushed the Jets back into a punting situation.
Good pass rushers like Pat Swilling put pressure on quarterbacks and offensive linemen. Saw a lot of this today, Vern. A lot of tip balls, particularly in that San Francisco game. The ball went right off of somebody's helmet, and part of Chester McLaughlin's very large body.
Ryan Hansen on to punt. That's a fairly low kick. Tim Brown has it. He's averaging double digits with the return game. Brian Hansen has a net punting average of only 33 yards this year, and Tim Brown is averaging better than 10 yards per return, 11.7 as a matter of fact. So Tim Brown has given the Raiders the ball at the 46-yard line. As far 10:40 to go in the opening quarter. Oakland and the New York Jets, and the Raiders have the ball at their own 46. James Jett, one of the swifter wide receivers in the league, is operating at right side. Handoff goes to Harvey Williams. He is knocked backwards. Maybe picked up a yard. But the middle of that Jet defensive line, we mentioned that Donald Evans is injured, not playing tonight. Otis Smith at cornerback is also on the inactive list with an injury problem. He has 4 interceptions. That's why Vance Joseph is getting the start at that right cornerback spot.
Yeah, and that's going to be a very interesting, one of those game within the games. Number 43 right there, Vance Joseph against these wide receivers, because he has never had to back up as a defensive back before.
Well, he's giving James Jett a little bit of room.
Absolute big cushion.
2nd down. And again, the Jets came across the neutral zone. That pass is caught by Derek Fenner, number 34. If it stands, it's good for a substantial gain and a 1st down at the 36.
These receivers for the Raiders really get a lot of respect around the league, Vern.
Offside, right defensive end, defense. Penalty is declined. 1st down.
A lot of times, look at the cushion here and here, but here in particular, I mean, he's given him a good 10, 12 yards, and that, I mean, there's going to be a lot of out routes thrown and hook routes thrown until that cushion is eaten up some.
That last game was 16 yards. Blitz threatened by the Jets. Hostetler back to throw, goes deep left side, way downfield for Darryl Hobbs, and it's overthrown.
Match 1 against Vance Joseph. And he did his job there. I mean, it's got to be a little frightening against this speed when you're playing defensive back for the first time. That's concern in his eyes, but he does a good job against Darryl Hobbs. He gets the head turn. I mean, he looked like there, Vern, like he's played some defensive back. And he was just converted, but that was a very good play by Vance Joseph.
Richie Kotite, talking with us yesterday, said he really, early on in camp as a free agent, began to attract their attention with his natural athletic ability, and he's got a chance to shine tonight. Time has been called. New York area, particularly the Meadowlands of New Jersey, and tonight's overhead shots are courtesy of the Goodyear Blimp Stars and Stripes. At the controls tonight is Captain Dick Esch from Pompano Beach, Florida. Has to be kind of a nice night to sail around up there. You don't sound enthused.
Well, I'm not a big blimp guy. I have to admit, I wouldn't. I'd be frightened right now.
I'd like to get you in a blimp.
Yeah, I bet you would.
Yeah.
About game time?
Yeah. 2nd down and 10. Victor Green in as a 5th back. Hostetler fires it right side for Tim Brown. And they got Joseph.
Yeah, they're going to keep picking on him, and that's good offense. And that is part of that new Raider thing, too. That was a timing pass there as Brown went in motion. He just ran the little square out, and the ball was thrown early and was thrown on time. The net result is Hostetler's getting rid of the ball quicker, and he's not being hit and pummeled as much as he has been the last couple of years. The ball comes out before he turns. And I don't care who you are, it's a tough route to cover when it's thrown on time like that. Well done.
That's a 1st down after the 17-yard gain. No score. There's Wilbur Marshall. This is Jet in motion. Hostetler, a lot of time. And that ball is caught by Tim Brown. He's got 3, first and goal.
You know, these wide receivers, it's actually a track team masquerading as wide receivers. You know, they'll throw the ball deep, and then they'll dink the ball off to Tim Brown. And you know, and then they have a new thing here where they bunch guys here. This is Tim Brown here. This is another new kind of Raider thing, an old Washington Redskin thing, where they bunch receivers, send 2 guys short, and then behind him in the deeper zone is Tim Brown.
That is a very fast trio of Smurfs.
And they're big. They're big Smurfs.
They are. It is an oxymoron. You cannot have a large Smurf. Harvey Williams drives it down to the 1. The Redskins had that bunch of receivers that they referred to as the Smurfs for years. The Raiders this season have gotten off to very slow starts. So this has got to be encouraging for them. They've yet to score a point in the first quarter of any of their first 4 games. Gordon McCarter asking for the game clock to be reset. Barrett Robbins has come in now in first and goal. Got to supply some blocking help. They hand it to Fenner. Oh, dandy job. Tony Casillas got in there and cut him down.
Well, goal line and short yardage defense is all about getting low and staying low. And Tony Casillas, number 92, first gets a good jump. He's right in front of you. Center doesn't get a hand on him, really. And he is right in the way of Derek Fenner. He sucked up that hole because that was where that play was supposed to be run. And they are very happy to have Casillas back.
3rd and goal from the 2. Backs in the eye, strength of the formation to the left. That's Cash in motion. Play action. Hostetler. Caught. Touchdown Glover, the tight end.
Well, they had a defensive end covering Marvin Washington. A defensive end is covering the tight end, and that is an easy mismatch for the Raiders. You know, the Raiders, this is a new Raider look, and we have seen bunch receivers. We've seen them throw some balls, some timing patterns. And I think they're one of the very few teams, Dallas being the other, that can give you power on one play and then finesse on the next.
Play action the call. And now here's Cole Ford, the rookie place kicker. The extra point is up, and it is good. A 54-yard drive, 8 plays. It took 3 minutes and 8 seconds.
Well, football is still a game of execution and matchups and game plans, and that was a perfectly executed drive, a well-scouted play, and they got the mismatch they wanted.
Lasagna.
Happened on that touchdown to Glover. Here's the matchup. It's defensive end against the tight end. The tight end should win that, and they get a corner blitz. That's why they had the defensive end covering Andrew Glover. He's trying to hold him at the line, but he has no chance. I mean, Marvin Washington's lost in space. His job is to rush the passer, not necessarily cover tight ends.
Andrew Glover with the touchdown. That's his 2nd of the season. And here's the kickoff from Cole Ford. That's a dandy kickoff. Taken by Dexter Carter, the erstwhile San Francisco 49er. And fairly decent field position at the 23-yard line. The tackle made by Carl Kidd, number 46. Carter, whose role here in New York is primarily that of special teams. Hasn't seen any action in the offensive backfield.
Unlike the Raiders, the Jet offense doesn't have any game breakers, any guys that with quick strike capability. So if they're going to win, they got to stay in the ball game, number 1. You can't fall way behind, and you can't make mistakes offensively.
First down from the 23. And you can't drop passes.
Well, he dropped one for a touchdown last week against Atlanta. I'm talking about 84 Fred Baxter, whom they like, filling in for an injured Johnny Mitchell. But he dropped a touchdown pass last week, and they lost the game 13-3. Boomer's still one of the great play-action quarterbacks in the game. You see what they're trying to do with Swilling, though. They're running boot legs to his side. He has not been fooled, though, on 2 attempts. Pat Swilling's been staying at home and doing the job.
2nd down and 10. Hand it off this time, and Adrian Morrell gets across the 25 to the 26-yard line.
Well, we talked about Boomer Esiason, Vern, going through so many new head coaches, 5 of the last 5 years, but it goes with his skilled position players too. He's got 2 new wide receivers. He's got a new tight end. He's got a new back as a starter, Murrell. I mean, it's no wonder this team is out of rhythm. Now, he's going to take a lot of the blame, and he's willing to do that. But he's playing with a whole lot of new guys again this year.
3rd and 8. That's McLaughlin coming across the line.
I think Malamala may have moved just a pinch early. And generally, when Chester McLaughlin lines up over you, you get anxious.
False start. Number 75 offense before the snap. 5 yards. Still 3rd down.
Siapeli Malamala was the man who moved.
Ooh, you redeemed yourself.
Thank you. I'm the Oakland Raiders of broadcasters. I needed a second chance.
A mulligan. You had your mulligan.
Yes, I do use those frequently, as you know. 3rd down after the 5-yard penalty. 2 wide receivers to the left. Here comes Swilling with an inside rush. Esiason gets rid of it. Murrell is going to be knocked out of bounds short of the 1st down near the 29-yard line.
That's a good play by Esiason. Even though they don't get the 1st down, he avoids the sack, and he still picks up an extra, probably 9 yards. You can just tack that on really your punt. So you didn't get the 1st down, but you avoid the sack, you get some more yards.
And that sets up Brian Hansen with the 2nd punt. And again, he's had problems with returns this year, has Hansen.
And he's got a pretty good returner that he's facing in Tim Brown.
Tim Brown had one of 17 yards on the 1st punt.
Whoops. That could be a 1st. If that's against the Raiders, that's going to be very close to a 1st down.
Wonder what little trickery was involved there in the line. Do you suspect?
I don't know if it was trickery. I think a guy just moved.
Okay.
Lined up right over the ball. These guys were very concerned about counting, making sure there were.
I want to make sure there were only 11 guys out there.
False start. Number 51 offense prior to the snap. The defense has not penetrated the neutral zone. Still 4th down.
It's Eddie Mason is the man who was judged guilty of that infraction.
You know, as I watch Tim Brown back here, the Raiders can beat you on special teams, Vern, just like they can beat you on offense and defense. This is a team that can win it all. The Raiders can win it all.
Well, we saw it today how perilous some of these one-loss records can be, with the Cowboys losing and Cincinnati almost knocking off Miami. Here's Brown. Well, in a game of field position, the Raiders have had the best of it. They get the ball at the 47-yard line to set this one up. Brian Hansen, another former New Orleans Saints. The Raiders with a 3-1 start. The one loss was in overtime to Kansas City.
They're a good football team. I mean, look what they're doing. They're running the ball very well. Joe Bugle, assistant head coach in charge of that rushing offense, 138 yards a game. It's 3rd in the NFL. 3rd in takeaways, 8 fumble recoveries. The weakness is on pass offense, only 22nd. But that's kind of a reflection of how well they're running the ball.
1st and 10. Tim Brown comes into the slot. They toss it out to Harvey Williams. He tries to cut back and is cut down instead.
I tell you, Steve Wisniewski thought he was running outside. I mean, Steve Wisniewski pulled all the way out to the corner, expecting Harvey Williams to be behind him. I think maybe Williams got a little bit impatient. Middle linebackers, Mo Lewis. He's the one pointing. He's got this team scattered. He knows what's happening, and he's there to fill the hole.
Don't you hate it if you're the quarterback and the guy's pointing right where you're going to? Uh-oh. 3 wide receivers now on 2nd down for the Raiders. Jets do not blitz. Draw play. Harvey Williams has some room right. And he gets all the way to the 40-yard line before Victor Green makes the tackle, number 21.
He had 9 guys at the line of scrimmage because their corners were up and bump and run. I think once you get past that first, you see all these guys up here? Once you break this initial pain, you have a lot of space in here, and that's exactly what happened with Harvey Williams on the little draw play. Good engaging by the offensive line. He gets past that first surge, 16-yard gain for a 1st down.
And again, the Raiders are inside Jet country. They have 1st down at the 41-yard line. They fake the draw play. Hostetler goes across the middle. What a catch is made by Rocket Ismail. Holy cow, Todd Scott leveled him, and Ismail held on.
And we talked about how the Raider receivers are taking turns making plays this year. It is not all Tim Brown, although Jeff Hostetler is looking deep for Tim Brown early. 2 guys on him, perfect pass protection, and that is a courageous catch by Ismail. The nice thing he does, though, he doesn't run into center field. He comes right square down the right. A big shot by Todd Scott, but that's a heck of a catch.
Only the 10th this season for the Rocket. Here's Williams. He squirts through left tackle this time. Got blocks from Robert Jenkins and Steve Wisniewski and moves it inside the 20.
I mentioned in the Rocket Ismail, he's become a receiver. He's not just a guy with a catchy nickname. I mean, and those kind of catches are the things they need as they try to spread the ball around. You make catches like that, the quarterback wants to throw it to you again. And besides that, he's wearing one of those nose things. And you always throw the guys with the nose things.
Yeah, do you?
Yeah. Well, Tim Brown actually doesn't wear one.
Tim Brown said they don't work. They're all cosmetic.
He says he wears them at night to
keep from snoring.
There you go.
See, Tim?
Yeah. He does all right, doesn't he?
Blitz. Hostetler, Tim Brown. Without the nose thing.
Yeah, he's a lot lighter without that nose thing. But you mentioned the blitz, Vern. The Jets are one of the few teams in the NFL right now. When you get down to scoring territory, they blitz and play man-for-man defense. And you run crossing routes against man-for-man defense because you have plenty of time to run away from the defender. You see, right from the very get-go, Victor Green, number 21, is beaten in the first step on that crossing route. It's a good call against man-for-man defense in a blitz.
With a 7-0 lead already, here's Jeff Hostetler and the Raiders. First and goal. Backs in the eye. Harvey Williams dances in untouched for the score.
And good block by Kerry Cash, too. The tight end, and Skrepenek, the right tackle.
Raiders are making it look easy.
Finesse and power. Like the old Redskins and the Dallas of this year. Finesse and power. Very unusual today's game.
Are you suggesting that pride and poise take a back seat?
Yes. I'm trying to change the
Finesse
whole...
and power? Yeah.
Does that work? Is that... I have to change all the billboards in Los Angeles and Oakland.
The whole marketing thing will... Kaputski.
Yeah.
That's finesse and power. Right? The theme of the 90s.
Another cafe latte, please.
You always were an LA kind of guy. See, you're just mad because they moved back to Oakland.
That is good blocking, and number 88, Kerry Cash, finishes it off, and that allows him to dance into the end zone. There's the block.
Well, the touchdown from Harvey Williams. Take another look at it. Untouched.
Another key block by Derek Fenner. I mean, they have everybody participating. All the receivers, all the linemen, all the backs. And the Fenner, number 34. He's the guy who gets the first lead block cleaned up by Kerry Cash, and that's good offense. We have seen 2 scores set up by good defense. They got good field position. And it was a nice punt return by Tim Brown. So they've done a little bit of everything here in this first quarter. And the Jets, as we said, are not a dynamic team, and they cannot get too far behind.
Harvey's got the nose thing.
He does have the nose thing going. A lot of the guys like that nose thing.
Well, this is not what Richie Kotite and Boomer Esiason wanted. Down 14 at home.
The Jets are not going to the Super Bowl this year. The Raiders have a chance. They're different types of a team. This is a methodical team, a team that doesn't have that breakaway threat that the Raiders have several of.
Dexter Carter. Out to the 31-yard line. James Trapp, number 37, who is a world-class sprinter. Another.
And part of the track team, the Raider track team. He just kind of overran this one. But this is a guy that, you know, most track guys aren't physical players. I mean, James Trapp is kind of an exception to that rule. He makes a lot of special teams plays and physical plays.
Trapp was an alternate on the men's 4x400-meter relay team in Barcelona. A fumble, and I believe the Raiders have it.
Yep.
Oh boy.
Well, they did it a week ago. 4 turnovers inside Atlanta's 10-yard line. And the most basic of offensive plays, the quarterback center exchange, they cannot execute. And this is the snap, or lack thereof. Looks like it was there. Looks like it was there, just mishandled. And Chester McLaughlin is the guy there. And Vern, the Jets have to avoid the knockout punch right now, because I promise you that's what the Raiders are thinking about right now. They're looking for the deep ball. And the new hats come out. They're looking for the deep ball. It may be taken away, but they'd like to score here on this play.
Napoleon Kaufman has come in, the #1 draft pick this season. He's lined up wide to the near side. Hostetler, deep, caught. Rocket Ismail.
Other than the one sack, Jeff Hostetler has gotten very good pass protection. And when that happens, and you have a chance for these wide receivers to get downfield, it doesn't take them long to get down there and get open. And Vern, because of the respect, you see the cushion there? That's easy pitch and catch. And they're going to catch a few of those hooks, and then they're going to try to blow right by him.
First down after the 16-yard pickup. Napoleon Kaufman darts inside his guard and tackle on the right side and gets to the 10-yard line.
Napoleon Kaufman has some quickness, suddenness to him, Vern. You know, they're a guy that Mike White was saying, hey, he is not a third down back. He's not one of those smallish little guys. He's a guy that is an alternate back for us. We're going to play him on first downs and second downs, but we really believe, this is Mike White talking, that he is going to be a difference in a lot of fourth quarter games.
In the final minute, quarter #1, it's been all Oakland. Kaufman gets the handoff. Little elusive shift to the hips, and he moves it down to the 5. Well, he's from the University of Washington, but as a prep star in California. As a junior, he was the state 100 and 200 meter champion. So he's part of the track team.
Yeah. I mean, he dodges, he darts, he skips around, and then he gives you a little bit of power. And, you know, the Raiders had a great short yardage and goal line runner, Marcus Allen, years ago, and you get the feeling that Napoleon Kaufman has that same kind of feel for the end zone that Marcus Allen had for the Raiders.
We have reached the end of one in the Meadowlands. Natives are getting a little restless.
Yes.
Second quarter from the Meadowlands, and the Raiders have 10 first downs to 1 for the Jets, 140 yards to 22, and a lead on the scoreboard of 14-0, and they've got a 3rd and goal from just inside the 5. Vern Lundquist, Pat Hayden from the Meadowlands. Here's Jeff Hostetler. First game back here since he went to Oakland, or Los Angeles actually, in '92. Jet in motion. Harvey Williams back in, and he is stopped short. So assuming now we get the field. Oh, I said 3rd and goal.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, he did get the first down.
And Harvey Williams is a solid halfback. I mean, Mike White was saying, hey, this guy, you know, really amazes me. He had nearly 1,000 yards last season, caught 47 passes. I mean, you sense that he's happy. He likes playing. He's playing against a good offensive line. This guy's a solid player.
Well, and we talked about Pat Swilling in the second chance. Here's another guy, Harvey Williams.
And they've just had dozens of guys that have come through the Raider organization that have squeezed out 2, 3, 4 more productive years.
And that goes back over 20, 30 years. First and goal. Timeout.
Yeah, clock was down to 1.
Yeah, Jeff Hostetler's he's gonna argue with Gordon McCarter. I think he's arguing that they started the play clock a little early. I don't think he's going to win the argument.
You never do.
No.
You know what we said? He really is a good match for this Raider team. You know, he's tough like that whole organization is. And I think he likes playing on the West Coast.
You know, Ernie Johnson talked during his pregame segment about the visit that Mike White made to Jeff Hostetler's home in Morgantown, West Virginia, shortly after he was named head coach. And Jeff was telling us last night that it really meant a lot
Well, he thought about not coming back. He said, hey, if Mike White or somebody like Mike wasn't going to come in and change the scheme of the offense, he said, I took too much of a beating last year. I was thinking about not coming back to the Raiders. And Mike White has done really early in his head coaching career with the Raiders, I think, a terrific job utilizing a lot of different people and keeping players happy. They seem to really be having a good time. And after all, it's a game.
Mike White, a head coach for the first time in the NFL at the age of 59. Down to the 1-yard line. Mo Lewis, the middle linebacker, made the tackle. I say Mo Lewis, the middle linebacker, because that's the spot he's playing now with Marvin Jones injured and out.
He's the only middle linebacker in the NFL with Roman numerals after his name, Mo Lewis III.
And as a matter of fact, last week, they welcomed Mo Lewis IV.
Yeah.
First child.
And that guy is a good player, and he is being asked to play out of position. He is really a weak side linebacker because of the injury to Marvin Jones. They have him playing in the middle.
2nd and goal from the 1. Play action. Hostetler chased and out of bounds back at the 6. Eric Howard supplied the initial pressure.
Well, no defensive ends on Andrew Glover that time. It was Mo Lewis. A much better matchup. Remember the first touchdown, they threw it to Andrew Glover when he was covered by a tight end. That time, he was covered by the linebacker, and the linebacker, in this case, Mo Lewis, won that battle. And that is very good defense when they really, really needed it. And Mo Lewis, number 57, he is not fooled by the play-action fake. That's recovery speed by a linebacker.
And the Raiders are going to have to waste a second timeout.
They burned 2 of them now. You don't feel as badly about it when you're ahead 14-0.
Time has been called. Over the Jets. They've got a 3rd and goal from just inside the 6-yard line with 13:17 to go in the first half. You look from overhead, and here are the night's GMC truck leaders. Left-handed quarterbacks is the subject tonight. And the top left-handed quarterbacks since 1940. The list is headed by Boomer Esiason. Kenny Stabler of the Raiders. Steve Young moved past Jim Zorn tonight. Frankie Albert is the non-broadcasting Albert.
Yeah, now there's 100,000 yards. How many miles is that?
That's more than I can count.
That's about 56, Bert.
I'm going to call Gordon McCarter and get some help. Here's Hostetler on 3rd down. Got it deep. Caught across the end line by Tim Brown. No touchdown. Boy.
That was a great catch. I don't care whether his feet were in or out, because that took some courage. That was the old floater. Now, I think maybe Hostetler's arguing for pass interference, but he was definitely out of the end zone. Number 81 is in the slot. This guy is a force inside the 20. He's a force anywhere in the field. Picking on Vance Joseph. Makes the ad-lib. You know what they may be arguing? They may be arguing that he would have come down in bounds had he not been pushed out.
In which case, I think they have a pretty valid argument.
Yes, and in that case, it would have been a touchdown.
Here's Cole Ford, the rookie, and time has now been called. Delay of game. The clock went down, and so they'll move it back 5 yards.
Let's take another look at it. You're going to see number 81, Tim Brown. Now would he have come down inbounds in the end zone? That's the issue. It's a judgment call, and back judge said no go.
Candidly, hard to tell from that rear angle.
Now he's going straight up. I think there's a plausible argument that he could have. He went straight up. It wasn't like he was jumping out of bounds. He was jumping straight up.
Here's the field goal attempt. It is up, and it is good. Now there's another flag down. Nope. Just a handkerchief.
There you go. The flags are yellow. The hankies are white.
Bill Cowher sent one. Oakland, the Raiders found themselves trailing Philadelphia 17-0 and scored 48 unanswered points. Based on what we've seen tonight, I don't like the Jets' chances of scoring 48 unanswered points. Different week, different game. Here's the kickoff from Cole Ford. Dexter Carter has it. Well, it has been Raider domination, and we've got a little bit of a battle breaking out at the 28-yard line.
Wouldn't be a Raider game without one.
No.
Eric Ball is another one of these guys, 42 for the Raiders, another good special teams player. And they brought him in just to play special teams. Yeah, he's a backup fullback, but he's going to see more action on these kind of plays. Bumps off Fred Baxter, the tight end, and puts a stop on it.
First down and 10. Jets down by 17. Morrell tripped up by Rob Fredrickson, number 53. Now the Jets' possessions thus far have not been productive. Obviously down 17-0. 5 plays on the opening, and then 3 and out, and a fumble. Esiason and Cal Dixon.
And I think this is one of those statement drives. I mean, they are not a great catch-up team. It's unlikely that they could even catch up tonight, but they have to do something here, I think, to have some chance. Either it's a field goal or at least a few first downs.
Blitz coming. Oh, what a block. My goodness. Brad Baxter laid a block on Mike Jones that was incredible. It was leverage more than anything else, but wow.
It was a leaping Mike Jones, number 52, the linebacker, but the fullback, Brad Baxter, number 30, who is a great pass protector and short yardage runner. And the Russian judge gave him a 9.8 on the dive. That's good blocking, and Baxter does that, and he's a good short yardage goal line runner.
Pass complete for a first down at the 34-yard line. Play action from Esiason. Diving catch is made up at the 47-yard line by Kyle Brady, the tight end, but this one may come back because of a holding penalty.
Kyle Brady, their #1 draft pick, is extremely large. That's going to be against the Raiders. Yeah. You know, he's 6'6". His program height is 6'6", 260, and he is that. A lot of guys, they list at 6'6", and you meet them, and they're 6'3", 6'4". But this guy...
Use of hands, number 99 defense, jammed to the face. Penalty declined, first down.
But this guy, number 81, has a chance to be a real force. Number 81. I mean, he is a dominating blocker. That's what he was primarily known as in college, but that's a good adjustment by a guy who's 6'6", 260. In good hands. And may have been trapped.
Yes. On first down, Esiason to Morrell. Tell you what, he got a heck of a block from Wayne Krebit. Number 80 away from the play initially. And the rookie from Hofstra stayed with his block, and that gave Morrell a little bit of room. And now we've got another altercation. Krebit.
Great story, isn't he?
Yeah, wonderful story. Born and raised in New Jersey, went to Hofstra, where he played for the
Flying Dutchman. My father was a graduate of Hofstra.
I thought I'd give you an opportunity to.
But a free agent, you know, used to watch the Jets from the other side of the fence, and you know, one of those kind of stories. Came in as the 10th wide receiver. They gave him number 3, not thinking he was going to make the team. Well, he wears 80 now.
Here's Esiason. Swilling is there. Good job, and here's Krebit.
He's a good little player. And you know why, Vern? Because football is important to Wayne Krebit. I mean, it really means a lot to him. I think he's still so afraid of getting cut even today that he gives you every single thing he has on every play, whether it's blocking as he did the play before, and here's just kind of a delay play, kind of bumps into Pat Swilling. It's the same kind of play that San Francisco runs with such great success. And, you know, this is meritocracy. I mean, it doesn't matter what school you come from. If you can play, you're on the field.
Krebit with the first down. Here's Esiason. Gets a little pressure. Goes deep for Brady, and he can't quite hang on. Just a little over his head and behind him.
Really, I thought that ball was catchable.
Did you?
Yeah, I mean, it took some adjustment, but I thought Kyle Brady had a chance to grab that one. It's hard to overthrow him at 6'6". And if he can, become that deep down the field threat. The Raiders are going to have a pretty good player, and they need some dynamic guys in offense because at the wide receivers they really don't have a lot of them.
Ryan Yarbrough comes in now for the first time. Backs are split on 2nd down and 10. Jerry Ball, number 93, gets Baxter and cuts him down for a loss of 5 yards.
Go back and look at that Brady play. I thought this was a pretty good throw, Vern. You know, he had to adjust a little bit, but clearly catchable. And when you're down 17-0 and you're struggling for your life as a team, your guys have to make plays like that.
By the way, every player for the Jets wearing a DS patch on their left shoulder. That's in memory of Dick Steinberg, their general manager, who died of cancer at the age of 60 on Monday. Esiason gets it going. Open. Here's Brady. Caught this one.
He did. A little easier catch, but it started with Esiason buying himself another chance, another opportunity. Because there was a good pass rush by Ball, by McLaughlin, by Swilling, and Smith. I mean, he had some inside pressure, and actually Andre Bruce. And he moves around pretty good. Everybody's been questioning his arm strength, Vern. I don't think that is so much the issue. It's really the deep play people around him. He doesn't have those kind of weapons that Jeff Hostetler has.
Double tight end set on 1st down. Burrell goes right. Oh, my
Rejected.
goodness. Eddie Anderson has done that a few times in his career.
Rejected.
Oh, brother.
He is a linebacker playing safety. I mean, you can give him a 33 and you can stick him back there in the open space, but deep in his heart and the way he plays, he's a linebacker.
Go back to the point you made at the beginning of this drive, Pat. I would think now Richie Kotite and the Jets can take a little bit of solace out of this, a little glimmer of hope.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if you're Richie Kotite, you have to take a touchdown. It's 7 of them.
Baxter, pocket, and the pass for Corbett incomplete.
We had Corbett and Kyle Brady right in the same area. Bottom of the screen, number 56 is Pat Swilling, who has really putting some heat on Boomer Esiason. That's what he came here to do. He said, that's what I do best. Now, not only does he put pressure on quarterbacks, he puts pressure on left tackles. Now, that was not a speed rush. That was a bull rush over Willig, who goes 317.
Sometimes backwards.
Yeah.
3rd down. Baxter back in the lineup. Esiason steps up in the pocket, goes into the end zone for Corbett at the 5, actually. And it's going to be 4th down.
That's when you wish Corbett had 2 or 3 inches of Kyle Brady's height.
Flag is down.
Again, Pat Swilling, number 56, is really putting a lot of different moves on Matt Willig. The play before, it was a bull rush. He gets held right there. That may have been the call.
Holding.
And that's a speed rush.
77 offense. Penalty declined. 4th down.
So 2 different pass rushes by Pat Swilling back to back. I mean, you always talk about running backs have changes of pace and wide receivers. Well, Pat Swilling has a change of pace on that rush.
Swilling with 90.5 sacks now, 5 this season. And here is Nick Lowry.
Nick Lowry has a very unusual right shoe. His left shoe is size 11. His right shoe is size 9. Likes that tight fit. That is tight.
Nice and tight through the uprights.
Good shoe, Nick. Nice shoe.
Didn't know the field goal kickers bind their feet. We've discovered something brand new. Shots from up above the Meadowlands in East Rutherford, New Jersey, and providing tonight shots from above, the Goodyear Blimp Stars and Stripes. The Goodyear Blimps are now in their 4th decade of live sports coverage. He's up there somewhere. 60 degrees, first night of October. Floyd Peters, longtime defensive coach for a number of teams in the league. Now with Mike White's staff at Oakland, talking to his guys, and here's Don Silvestri. Napoleon Kaufman, 3 yards back.
Yeah.
Whoa!
Nope.
Whoa!
Now the ball's got to come out entirely over that line. You know, unlike when you cross the plane of the goal line going in, the ball has to come completely out over that imaginary line that encircles the entire world, that goal line.
Napoleon Kaufman has learned the first lesson of being a rookie. Pay attention to your elders.
Yes, and he was thinking about it.
Yeah.
Now watch the feet there, but where's the ball? It never crossed that line, and so they get it on the 20.
Which, as we know, is a line in perpetuity.
Yes,
It circles the globe.
forever and ever and ever. I've crossed it all over the world, that goal line.
Have you?
Uh-huh.
Remember what is most exciting?
Just outside London. They kind of stumbled over it.
I thought Karachi was at the first down and 10. Hostetler. Overthrown and incomplete for James Jett. Coverage by Aaron Glenn that time, number 31. Last year's number 1 pick. Well, the Raiders up 17-0. They had to punt on their first possession of the night, but then back-to-back touchdowns. And most recently a field goal that gave them a 17-0 lead. Is now 17-3.
Well, you know, they are spreading it around again. I think that you've seen a little bit of everything. They're still taking the old Raider shots. They've thrown 3 deep balls, but then they come back and they run the ball and they throw some timing passes. So it is a new offense.
Kaufman. Good job by Eric Howard. Eric Howard, who was another of the former New York Giants, came as an unrestricted free agent and playing a position with which he is totally unfamiliar.
Left defensive end, and he told us this week, he said, I've been playing inside a defensive tackle for 10 years. He said, I'm a little concerned about going out there. You have to guard a lot more space or defend a lot more space as a defensive end. But boy, he has been a good run stopper for his entire 10-year career.
Out of Washington State. 3rd and 10. 6:20 to go before halftime. Blitz threatened by Mo Lewis. Nope. They stunt defensively. Hostetler scrambles. Ball's loose. Jets have it.
Got what they know. They call him down.
They're going to say down. And at the ground caused the fumble.
The runner is down by contact.
Eric Howard, we just talked about him, number 74. He is a guy that's going to give you a full day's work. First, he runs through kind of Greg Strepanek, good protection, but he doesn't quit. Doesn't give it, stays with it.
Oh.
The ball was fumbled, and that was a fumble. That was a fumble. They dodged it.
Dexter Carter takes the punt at the 15-yard line. I think that was a fumble.
It was a fumble, and that was a break the Jets really needed.
Take another look at it. Was Hostetler down?
No, that ball's out before his knee was down. That is a fumble. Should have been Jets' ball there.
Time has been called.
It's alert.
That scramble of Jeff Hostetler, I believe he fumbled the ball. And we're going to watch his left knee, and then you're going to see his ball come out. There's his left knee. The ball is already coming out, and he has not hit the ground yet. That should have been a fumble. It was recovered by the Jets, and they should have the ball around the Raider 30-yard line.
First down and 10. They don't. Here's Esiason with a handoff. Morrell up the middle. Ankle tackled at the 34-yard line. The stop is made by Derek Hoskins, number 20, but a good bit of running from Adrian Morrell.
One of the few times the Raider defense has given up a run this season down the middle. I mean, when you have Chester McLaughlin and you have Jerry Ball and Greg Beaker at the middle linebacker, they're pretty tough down the middle. But a good cutback run. It looked like actually Robbins overran it. A good cutback run by Morrell and pick up the first.
He's got 30 yards on 7 carries now. Offset high this time. Esiason with an audible. Morrell again. Oh, boy! Eddie Anderson saved the touchdown.
Ouch, ouch. When he was tackled, I mean, Eddie Anderson went high, and that's what the Jets are upset about, to the back of his neck, and Morrell had a very awkward fall after that tackle. But twice in a row, he has popped through the initial wave of defenders. First time it was over the center, this time off tackle. The stop and Stetter, but watch it at the end of this run what happens. He takes a really awkward fall as Eddie Anderson grabs him from the back of the neck. That's a clean tackle. Nothing illegal there. Actually, he gets... And I thought he was going to hurt both of his knees.
Right. Gain of 24. Esiason play action.
Yes.
No contact. James Folston, number 55. Boomer thinks there might have been a little bit of physical contact there. Let's take a look now at the Lee Sport scoreboard for action today.
How about that Kansas City game? The run that Steve Bono had.
76
yards for a touchdown.
Longest run ever by a quarterback?
For a touchdown, yes.
What was your longest run?
About 3 yards, but it was for safety.
Caught from behind?
Yes.
The toss left, Morrell. Waits for his Walker. And Morrell pancakes the defender. And the Jets move it inside the 35.
Okay, one thing about wide earlier that time, Charles Wilson, number 89, came down on a crackback block, and he really gave the initial block that allowed Adrian Morrell to get outside. So the wide receivers are very much involved in the blocking scheme of these Jets. What they really need to do is get them downfield as receivers, though.
4 minutes remaining in the first half. 17-3. It'll be 3rd down and 3. And time has been called by Boomer Esiason. That's the first for the New York Jets, and they've got 2 remaining. Oakland has used 2 of its. Well, next week we're heading up to New England to take on the...
Change of leaves?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be nice, huh?
Yeah. Next week it's... I know what it is. It's TNT's NFL coverage. Next Sunday, the Coors Light Pro Football Tonight pregame show at 7 o'clock. At 8 o'clock, John Elway, who earlier this season became the 19th quarterback in NFL history to pass for 200 or more TDs, battles the New England Patriots from Foxborough Stadium. That's next Sunday right here on TNT.
You're watching John Elway there. He had the late game touchdown pass to beat Washington. Washington beats the Cowboys today. I mean, just think of the year that Washington could have had.
You saw the replay of Troy Aikman's strained calf.
Yeah,
wasn't that bizarre?
Funny, was not even hit.
No,
just kind of dropped back and just grabbed his calf.
And I saw some mention that he thinks he might be out a couple of weeks, 3 weeks. Yeah. 3rd and 3. Charles Wilson in motion. Esiason incomplete.
Oh,
Crevette
twice.
McLaughlin all over Esiason.
Yeah, and Chester McLaughlin has a habit of doing that. He is strong, he has speed, and he has incredible power. He is number 91. And for a big guy, he weighs 320 pounds, he has got a great first couple of steps. Now, he and Carlton Hasselrig, number 63, that's a good matchup of NFL strongmen. Hasselrig is strong as they come as offensive guards, and Chester McLaughlin, a pretty strong guy.
Mick Lowry has hit more field goals in excess of 50 yards. Second most in NFL history behind Morton Anderson. He's going to have a chance to try one here with a field goal effort of maybe 51 or 52 yards. See where they spot it. Coming out at halftime, the Fruit of the Loom halftime report. Vince Cellini has the no-huddle highlights, a fast-paced look at the big plays of the day. Plus, Vince will be joined in the studio by Mark May, Warren Moon, and Kevin Kiley. And having called the timeout.
Well, you go over and practice a little bit, don't you?
Yes, but
yes.
Richie Kotite has changed his mind. He's sending the offense back out.
I don't think that's a bad call. You're a 1-3 team right now. You're really fighting for respectability, trying to put a team together, trying to get guys to play together. I like the call. And it is, let's be honest, it's not a Super Bowl team.
Right. 2 of 4 on 4th down conversions in this young season. And a 4th and 3 now, trailing by 14 with under 4 minutes to go in the half. Stunts by the defensive line. Ball is batted down by Pat Swilling.
Boy, he has done everything this first half. I mean, we have seen power rushes, speed rushes, and that time he just kind of stopped right there. and batted the ball down.
Well, Jeff Hostetler comes in with the Raiders, and he talked a little bit about the Raider mystique.
Well, you know, that Raider mystique comes back as soon as you start winning, and that's the whole key. You know, the Raiders of old were a team that won big ball games, and I think you know, that's what we want to get back. We want to get back that tough, physical, dominating, winning football attitude.
They're going deep. Rocket Ismail has it inside the 20 at the 18. They beat Vance Joseph.
Sooner or later, they're going to play like the Raiders of old. I mean, they played like the Raiders of new in the short, rhythmic type of passes. But they're always looking for the play that'll break your back. And they've got the quarterback who can throw it, and they've got the track team that can catch it. 48 yards on the pass and catch.
First down at the 18-yard line. Harvey Williams caught it, dropped after a yard gain.
You know, they're one of the, we talked about it, the muscle and then the deep ball. I mean, remember Joe Bugle's teams when he was coaching the offensive line with the Redskins? They were like that. Joe Gibbs was the head coach. The Cowboys give you a little bit of that, and they give you a lot of ways they can beat you. There's Joe. I mean, they can beat you with those long bombs. They can grind it out. They can protect the lead. They can also win on defense and I think win on special teams. This is a very good and talented Raider team.
And they have a second down and 9 with 2.5 to go in the first half. Into the corner, Tim Brown. They got Joseph. Touchdown. There's also a flag down, but the flag may be inconsequential.
It's not fair for Vance Joseph to be going through this tonight, Vern. The man has never in his entire life played defensive back, and he's got to go against, on this play, Tim Brown. He beat him on the first step.
Number 43 defense, penalty decline, touchdown.
Yeah, it was pass interference, and still the great concentration and the catch by Brown. But Vance Joseph is being asked to do some things that, quite honestly, he's just not capable of doing just yet. Just learned how to back up as a defensive back a few months ago.
Tim Brown gets the touchdown. Cole Ford is on to try the extra point. Well, that was quick. After the missed fourth down play, 3 plays. The highlight, a 48-yard pass from Hostetler to Rocket Ismail, and then the touchdown, Hostetler to Tim Brown.
And this was 80% catch because Tim Brown, this ball was thrown a little bit late because of the rush. And Joseph is making up some speed there, and he interferes with him. Incredible concentration, and then strong hands. Good receivers have strong hands. You know, they don't just seem to bounce out of them. But there's a guy that has been, you know, everybody talks so much about Jerry Rice and Michael Irvin and Sterling Sharp and all those guys. You know, the long pass to the other receiver, Ismail, set the play up, the touchdown play. And this is the Raiders of old. They may have left Los Angeles, but they're still doing this. And this is what people fear when you play them. Again, that was on Vance Joseph. Not satisfied, they come back and throw the touchdown pass to Tim Brown on Vance Joseph. Victor
Green on the left, and the erstwhile backup quarterback from the University of Colorado. He's playing tonight because Otis Smith is out with an injury, and Carl Greenwood, who was listed as the backup at that position, had an eating problem earlier.
Out with a bad diet, believe it or not. Vern, would you mind keeping track of the play clock?
I'll count down.
Would you please?
Yep. I count backwards well.
Okay. Well, Cole Ford, the kicker for the Raiders, knows that this is a limited role for him, although he's making the most of it. I mean, he has had a real nice couple of games in lieu of Jeff Jager, who's injured. They expect him back, I think, still in another week or two.
Nice kickoff. Dexter Carter, 5 yards back. That'll be a touchback and come out to the 20-yard line.
Cole Ford will find a new job if the Raiders don't want him, because he is kicking off exceptionally well, and he's Been very strong in the field goal department for him, too.
Well, place kickers are kind of like baseball managers.
You keep moving around.
Once you get inside the tent, there always seems to be a job.
That is the truth.
It's getting into the tent that's a problem. Well, Vance Joseph, Kenny Rose, the special teams coach, talking with the rookie cornerback. Kenny Rose, who took an invitation to retire this year and join Richie Giltine's staff. First down and 10. Into the flat.
Vern, you can't win in the NFL, I don't think, on a regular basis unless you have some game breakers and some guys who can get you 40, 50 yards. Unless your defense is going to give you the ball 5, 6 times with turnovers, and the Jets don't have that yet. Richie Kotite is looking for that kind of mix. And, you know, Esiason's got new wide receivers, new backs, 3 new offensive linemen. And that is not the mix of a good offensive football team while they're still getting accustomed to one another.
2-minute warning. Joseph getting some consoling remarks from his teammate Marcus Turner. And then at the end of the conversation, a nice hug.
Yeah. It's I'm not sure it's entirely fair to him.
Yeah.
To expect him to cover these guys when he's never done it before.
Second down and 10. Esiason held that one, picked off the official, got the umpire. I mean, hit him right in the neck.
And that's a substitute umpire, isn't it?
Ed Kukart.
Yeah. The regular umpire with this crew.
Ed Fiffick.
Yeah, Ed Fiffick is out with some rib injuries, I understand. On the left side of the screen. Boom, he was open. You got to get those hands up, though. You know, you can't catch the ball with the hands at the side. Boomer can't believe it. Now, you know, the umpires have come into play a couple times for the Raiders this year. Remember against Kansas City, the umpire got in the way of Tim Brown.
Right.
They thought caused an interception in overtime.
On third down, watch out.
Could get ugly here. Aaron Wallace, number 51, comes to the very top of the screen. Beats Malama. And again, there's not a lot Boomer Esiason can do. They're coming at you in waves, these Raiders in the pass.
Ryan Hansen, this will be returned. Tim Brown at the 47. And we've got 91 seconds remaining in the first half. The Raiders have the ball at the 46-yard line. And there's a flag on the play against the Raiders. That was the
ineligible downfield, number 51 kicking team. Penalty declined, first down.
Jets, not Raiders. 6 days to Sunday on November 8th, TNT will take NFL fans where they've never been before. Don't miss 6 days to Sunday, a unique behind-the-scenes look at 2 teams heading for a Sunday night showdown. It premieres Wednesday, November 8th on TNT.
I don't know about the days before, but the Sunday part of it was a pretty good game.
Yes, it was. Yeah. Overtime.
Dallas wins overtime on Emmitt Smith's run.
First down and 10. Harvey Williams to the 42. Raiders are out of timeouts. Coming up, the Fruit of the Loom halftime report. Warren Moon with the weekend off will be in the studio with Vince and Mark and Kevin Kiley. Second down 8. Oops, incomplete. Gary Cash, the tight end, number 88. Stops the clock with a third down and 8.
And the Raiders have 2 tight ends that they can play pretty well for. One of them is Kerry Cash, number 88 right there. More the receiver type. And that Andrew Glover, the other tight end, already caught a touchdown pass in this game, who's a blocker type. Can be a dominating blocker. They have a nice mix with their tight ends.
3rd and 8. Blitz is threatened. And the Jets are coming. Mo Lewis. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they just when they needed a play from the defense, you know Mo Lewis is going to come up with it. You talk about a guy being versatile. I mean, last week against Atlanta, they asked him to play defensive end, and Hostetler comes limping off. But number 57 is going to come slipping up and sneaking up in the hole, and he times the blitz pretty well. Hits the gap, gets through the back, then gets to the quarterback. And Hostetler got up limping from that hit, that shot. But you know, it's one thing to blitz. It's the other to time it right and then defeat the block of the back. And that is just what Mo Lewis III did on that one.
And Jeff Hostetler over on the Raider bench in pain. 3rd sack by the Jets. Despite the score on the board, 24-3. You recognize this young man, right?
I'll tell you, he's been in the league for about, I think, since 1869 when the game was still first invented. That's old Vince Evans. Played college football with Vince, believe it or not. 16 years in the NFL. Surprisingly, about the backup quarterbacks in the National Football League, how little experience there is around the league, Vern.
And again, we have seen it time and time again how important that backup role is for the Cowboys today. Wade Wilson had to come off the bench. Troy Aikman out with an injury. On 4th down, here's Jeff Gossett to punt. Dexter Carter back to return it. Nice and high. Carter fouls it. Wow.
Man. And you can't blame that on coaching. You know Rich Kotite is going to take some grief for this performance, but that's just awful special teams. Awful. Well, your team needs it. You know, you've just stopped them. You forced the punt. And Dexter Carter has done that. I mean, has caught a lot of punts over his years that went right through the proverbial breadbasket. And there were a host of Raiders playing some pretty good special teams tonight. And they're going to have another chance at it. 51 is Aaron Wallace. James Trapp down there again. Dan Land, 25. Whole bunch of guys. No timeouts, though.
Hostetler comes back on the field. 43 seconds to go. They've got the ball at the 16. Looking right with time. Now he has to run out of the pocket.
Should have gotten out of bounds. Should have gotten out of bounds.
Clock will continue to run. It's now at 30 seconds.
You know, it's easy to rally around Jeff Hostetler, though. You know, a couple plays before he gets hurt. And I think this is why offensive players and defensive teammates like Jeff Hostetler. He is one tough guy.
Left side, Tim Brown. Out of bounds at the 6.
Yeah, so they have to give Vance Joseph some help, Vern. I'm sorry. You know, give the poor man some help. Get some help over the top. Wide side of the field, number 81 is Tim Brown. He can catch the ball deep, he can catch the ball short, and then when he catches it, he usually do something with it afterwards. Picking on Vance Joseph. We said at the very beginning of this show, the Raiders knew he was playing there, and they were going to work on him. And they have done that in this first half.
Tim Brown has caught 6 now for 78 yards and a touchdown. It's Darryl Hobbs who wind up left this time. Darryl Hobbs. Incomplete. Vance Joseph.
Vance, I mean, that's one for you, Vance. That's one for you. And you deserve one every now and then. But they're going to continue to work on him, and he continues to go man on man. This time with Darryl Hobbs. It's the fade route, the same route that Tim Brown scored on earlier. But Joseph does a good job that time. And the Raiders do a good job of picking up Mo Lewis, who before had given Hostetler a tough time. That time, Harvey Williams stayed up and got a piece of it.
2nd and goal. Backs are split. 11 seconds to go. They go in the left side for Hobbs. Touchdown over Vance Joseph.
Sorry, Vance. Sorry, Vance.
That's almost painful.
It is. I mean, I know he's got some athletic ability, Vern, but there are dozens of guys who have played defensive corner in the league available. And, you know, to put him out there is a travesty. The guy just is not ready to play corner, particularly against guys like Tim Brown, this time Darryl Hobbs. And that was just a change of pace. They faked the fade, and then they kind of ran an out pass.
Cole Ford's extra point is up and through.
Well, this is a confidence builder for the Raiders. And Jeff Hostetler said, hey, we are ready to break out. We are ready to explode, he told us yesterday. Well, they have done that here in the first half with 31 points. And they've given it to Tim Brown for a touchdown. Darryl Hobbs gets this touchdown. Andrew Glover, a tight end's got another one. Ismail's been involved. They have gotten all their offensive players involved in these 31 points in the first half.
Young man who played backup quarterback at the University of Colorado, pressed into service on a night that he will never forget. Been a tough one.
Yeah. You love to see his teammates at least tell him to keep his chin up. I mean, I love to see that to a guy who's having a very difficult night. I mean, those are good guys who are doing that to Vance Joseph. Oh boy.
31-3 with 8 seconds to go. This last touchdown set up by the muff on the punt from Dexter Carter. And Cole Ford getting ready to kick off again. Dexter Carter is back to return it, along with Ron Carpenter. That's taken short by Kyle Brady. And he gets out of bounds at the 40-yard line with 2 seconds to go. And another little struggle erupts. I'm sure frustration is a part of this.
Well, Richie Kotite, his team down 31-3. You know, he's kind of an upbeat guy. Richie Kotite, he's as optimistic as, you know, an infomercial host. You know,
How optimistic
well,
is that?
You know, he's an upbeat guy. I mean, you've seen all those infomercial guys that host these shows, you know, selling. They're very
I need to talk
peppy.
to you about what you're doing with your leisure time.
Very peppy. But this has to be a disgusting first half.
It has been a tough one. We've reached halftime. 31-3. Oakland leads the New York Jets. NFL is. Take a look at this, Pat.
Yeah, we talked about field position. Average position, 50-yard line. They had 4 touchdowns and a field goal inside the 20. And as good as it is for the Raiders, as you can see all those things, it has been equally bad for Vance Joseph, the corner for the Jets.
Victim of 2 touchdown passes in the first half. Those came in the second quarter. Here's Carter returning the kickoff, and he gets out near the 30-yard line, tackled at the 25. Joe King makes the stop, number 31. Boomer Esiason, who among the misfortunes that befell the Jets in the first half, had a bobble on a center snap, and that led to one of the touchdowns.
Well, I still maintain Boomer Esiason can play this game effectively, but he cannot carry this team. And he's much like Vance Joseph has been asked to carry or do too much on defense. I think Boomer has been asked to do too much with this offensive team.
Backs are split. Play action on first down. That one is caught. Curtis Caesar, number 88. Oh, no, Charles Wilson, beg your pardon, number 89. It's Wilson makes the catch.
Number 89, Charles Wilson, whom the Jets feel is a good receiver after the catch, but also just getting used to Boomer Esiason, the timing in the field between receiver and quarterback. He just came here before the week of their first regular season game.
Came here from Tampa, where he played for Sam White. Here's Esiason. That one's caught by Corbett. And that'll be good for a first down inside the 45-yard line. Derek Hoskins makes the tackle.
Think about these Raider defensive backs, all of them will really tag you after the catch. I mean, Eddie Anderson, we've seen a lot of that. You know, McDaniel can do it. Albert Lewis, Derek Hoskins. I mean, they have a very good defensive line, experienced defensive backs, and a good young, fast linebackers. 1st and 10 now for the Jets. Back to the eye. Burrell. Right into Pat Swilling. Oh, somebody was supposed to trap block him, but they couldn't get there. He's that quick. And, you know, the Jets said they were going to put a tight end over him and try to run at him. Well, they haven't done that in this game this far, but this is why you want to put a big guy over him, because he is so quick upfield. See, I think the guard was supposed to trap him, but no way are you going to get there before Pat Swilling gets to the ball carrier. And notice this time he was lined up at the left end. Yep. It's kind of his call, isn't it? Yeah, he was saying last night to us, hey, it's my call whether I line up at left end or right end or stand up or get in a stance. And he's at left end again here. Beaker threatens to blitz. He's not coming. Esiason lets it go off Corbett, incomplete. Well, and that causes Boomer to turn around and shake his head. It's Wilson. I beg your pardon. Yeah, perfect throw. Perfect throw there. And these are the ones that define you as a receiver. Catching the ball over the middle when you know a free safety's coming down to give you a smack like Eddie Anderson was. And those are the ones you have to catch, make a guy miss, and then maybe you go the distance. But it has not been the Jets' night for wide receivers. 3rd and 13. This time Esiason has time, and he finds Wilson inside the 30 and out of bounds at the 26. That was a nice little route there by Charles Wilson. Good protection for one of the few times for this evening for Esiason. Had plenty of time to find Charles Wilson. Kind of ran a double move. He is at the top of the screen, number 89. Corbett is 80, is in the slot. And again, the catch-up speed there by Terry McDaniel, who can't quite get there in time, so that was a well-designed play, but it really started with very good pass protection by the Jet offensive line. Gain of 19 and a first down on 3rd and 13. Burrell and Baxter in an offset eye this time. Anderson comes up to force the run. Burrell still running to the 11. There were a lot of guys locking up on those Raiders, including wide receivers. Good blocking by the offensive line. Good blocking. I think it was Charles Wilson who had a pretty good block on his guy as well. And Adrian Murrell makes the most of it. Murrell is a guy that is not particularly fond of a moniker he has of being a change of pace back. Wants to be an every down back, and he's had some pretty good runs here in this first half. See the blocking by the wide receiver though, Vern? And that's good blocking. I think it was Wilson. Wilson, 73 yards now for Murrell on 11 carries. He gets the handoff again, cuts inside the Baxter block and goes to the 5-yard line. Might have gotten to the 4. Tackle made by Derek Hoskins, number 20. Well, they are running at Pat Swilling, and even though they are not putting a tight end over him, they're getting a big back on him. I think it was Brad Baxter that time who got a hit on him. And then a nice cutback run by Adrian Murrell. I mean, he's got a pretty good vision for a big back at 215 pounds. He's got some pretty good vision and cutback ability. 2nd and 4 from the 5. 31-3. Baxter in motion. Quick setup. Into the end zone. Incomplete. Intended for Kyle Brady, the tight end. Yeah, this is where a guy who is 6'6" can be a tremendous advantage to a quarterback. You have to play in there strong. You really have to post up. It's like a basketball play. Big stretch, can't get the left, well, he gets the left hand on, just can't hang on. He was kind of slowing down, and I think Esiason thought he was going to keep moving. And again, that is that communication, that subtle communication between quarterback and receiver. They just don't have it yet, Brian. 3rd and 4 from the 5. Esiason, there he goes. They even fumbled, too. Andre Bruce, number 99. Another of those who has found redemption in a Raider uniform. They may have moved to Oakland, but no, I guess they're back to their Oakland days. Yeah, this looks like the Raiders vintage, in the 70s. Yeah. Yeah, you mentioned Andre Bruce. He was the #1 pick, the entire #1 pick. He is number 99, who was put in some. He's in the top. This side is Pat Swilling, 56. 99's at the top on Malamala. Escapes him. He just held on the ball an awfully long time. But Andre Bruce, the #1 pick, the entire draft in 1988, people thought he was a bust. Absolute bust out of Auburn. And again, he has been a good pass rusher.
Number 56, defense. Half the distance from the dead ball spot. Automatic first down.
On Pat Swilling.
Yep. Yeah. Mike White got the nice California tan going, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Knows what kind of wine goes with halibut. He does. Look at him. He's a Northern California guy.
Okay, which kind does?
I'm not a wine connoisseur. You are. You tell me. Some sort of Chardonnay, I assume, right? But Mike knows. He knows those things.
Mike does know those things?
Yeah, he's a Northern California guy.
Yeah, he's back home. Everett McIver is checked in as an eligible receiver. The ball in the end zone is caught by Brady. Touchdown. Kyle Brady, the 9th pick in the draft this year.
And then that's a strong catch by Kyle Brady. I mean, that was not an easy catch to make, and he really had to gather that ball and grab it. I mean, it was kind of a funny throw away from his body. That was a very good adjustment by Kyle Brady. Against Mike Jones, a good coverage linebacker, number 52. Syson throws that ball early, as you can see, before he was even looking. That's a good throw and a good catch.
Brady gives the Jets their first touchdown of the night. Nick Lowry's on for the extra point.
Yeah, Kyle Brady, all 6'6" of him, makes himself a very big target. Fights with the ball away from Mike Jones, and they get their first touchdown, 31-10.
Midtown Manhattan, underneath those lights, the USS Intrepid, a retired aircraft carrier, now a Navy museum, one of the sites if you come to New York City. Some of the folks who came inside this thing would like to get over there right now.
It's really wonderful to be with you, Vern. Travel log of experiences.
I'm still trying to find the wine for the halibut.
We're going to get you a list. You're kind of a wine guy. You'd probably know.
Well, I'm just only kind of a wine guy. Don't give me that reputation. I'm fighting hard enough as it is. Time is out. SS Intrepid. That is the Empire State Building in Midtown Manhattan. 31-10. Oakland leading the Jets. And let's go back and take a look at Boomer Esiason on that touchdown pass.
Yeah, and he really paid a price for this thing. He takes a pretty big shot from Folston, number 55. I mean, and even sometimes when you throw touchdown passes, it's still a long day and a frustrating day when your team still trails 31-10. And so even the good plays feel bad sometimes.
Glenn Foley, whose former coach Tom Coughlin won his first game in the NFL today. Congratulations to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Matter of fact, the only New York Jet win this year was over Jacksonville. On the line to Tim Brown. Vance Joseph in the area, victimized for 2 touchdown catches in the first half. And for Tim Brown, that's 8 catches now for 90 yards.
You know, Tim Brown is the quintessential complete receiver because he'll block. I mean, he'll work the middle with toughness and aggressiveness. He has speed to go deep, as we've seen tonight. I mean, he does a little bit of everything for these Raiders as a wide receiver.
And he has gone beyond 5,000 yards, puts him in pretty good company with the Oakland Los Angeles Raiders. Harvey Williams gets the carry here. Saw that quartet that Tim Brown joins.
Well, we talked to a bunch of the Raiders about moving back to Oakland, and they really think, particularly for their defensive players, it has made a big difference. I mean, the crowd has really been in it like they didn't have in Los Angeles. And hey, here's John Fox, the defensive coordinator. But for the defensive guys, they think it's been a big lift.
Well, and Timmy Brown said yesterday that he's responding to the crowd at the Coliseum and doing things he's never done in a football uniform in the NFL before, like appealing to the crowd for more noise and such. Whoa!
Aaron Glenn hasn't been worked on too much tonight. I think that is only the second pass thrown his way. They threw the ball deep to his side once, and Richie Kotite said, "Hey, Aaron Glenn can play this game. He is as good a corner as I have seen," and he had Eric Allen. Now, first look at the cushion. That, ladies and gentlemen, is respect for speed. And that's on Ismail. Ismail slips a little bit. That gives him an opportunity to make up the play. But they have not been testing Aaron Glenn. Instead, they've been working on Vance Joseph.
3rd and 8. 31-10. Oakland leads it. Hosteller right side. Tim Brown. Here goes Tim Brown. One man to beat. Can't beat him. Touchdown.
And he's also good after the catch. 66 yards on the pass and run. And the new Raiders. I mean, we've seen the deep throws. We know with the Ismail, that one for, I don't know, 55 yards, I think. And this one was really a short throw. It was only about 15 yards, but he turned it into a 66-yard touchdown run after a catch. They can beat you so many ways. And Vance Joseph is just so happy that was not he on that one.
9 catches, 156 yards for Tim Brown now. And Cole Ford on for the extra point. That one is blocked. That is the only thing that's gone wrong tonight. I have a feeling we may be in need of company before this game is over.
I'm going to give you some. I'm not leaving. But watch, again, he breaks a tackle. He is a strong, he breaks the tackle of Marcus Turner, and then it's a foot race. And when you get in foot races with Raider receivers, you generally lose.
Time is called. Well, some fans are still here, but they don't appear overjoyed. Well, they're having a good time.
I've got the guy right next to me that they might send in.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Surprise visitor.
I told you we didn't want to be alone. Here's Dexter Carter. Flags are down. And Dexter Carter is down at the 35-yard line. We'll check the infraction now. Here is Gordon McCarter. And the line judge, Ben Montgomery.
There is no foul. The block on the return team was perfectly legal from the side.
I thought so.
Well done. Well done.
Well, there are moments when I realize that you and I are men of average height.
This is why I get out of the game. Guys like Bubba Smith.
We are joined by Bubba Smith, who, by the way, has a major role in Police Academy 3 that will be seen after the game tonight on TNT. Bubba, we promised that we would not bail out of this game to start your movie early, but I'm thinking right now it'd be a good idea.
It might be a good idea now.
How's the acting career going?
So far, so good.
You know, you were a part of the Raider history back in the 70s. You played with them a couple of years.
Played 2 years with them, and what I like about them now is that Heisman thing with Rocket and Tim Brown.
That's not bad.
You were also part of Jet history, too, playing that first Super Bowl, Super Bowl III. What are your memories of that one?
Well, Pat, I didn't think you'd even bring that up.
I'm sorry, Bubba. I'm sorry, please. Vern told me to.
Treat him nicely, will you?
We got killed. We got killed.
You know, it's funny, Bubba. We were talking with John Dockery, who's a colleague of ours in broadcasting, of course, and played in that game for the Jets. He was reminding us that I guess they moved Dave Herman out on you in that game.
Mm-hmm.
You want to talk about something else? How's the acting career going?
Again.
It's going pretty well. My big thing right now is I'm opening 40 Arby's in the Baltimore area, and I'm pretty happy about that.
It sounds like you've carved out a very successful post-football career.
Yeah, and it's going to give a lot of kids a chance to go to college because we're giving away 2 scholarships every year.
Where are you living?
L.A.
In L.A.?
But I'm moving back to Baltimore for 6 months out of the year.
Mm-hmm. As you watch this game tonight, how much different, how much has it changed since you played defensive end in the league? 4 defensive ends, do you think?
Well, they don't have the advantage of a head slap. They can't use that, and the offensive linemen are able to extend their hands, which makes it bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it was all set up to get more scoring.
Might you demonstrate the head slap on Vern?
I was going to volunteer, and I'll bet you this. I'll bet you Bubba Smith knows what kind of wine goes with halibut.
Yeah, he probably does.
Now, this is unfair. You didn't realize, but Pat's swearing he doesn't know.
It's got to be Chardonnay.
Well, I don't drink, so yeah. I don't even know what kind of wine that is.
All right.
Well, listen, we'll enjoy seeing you in Police Academy 3 after the football game tonight.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bubba.
I really appreciate what y'all do.
Continued success to you. Thanks, Bubba. 37-10, 8 minutes to go in the third quarter of play. Wayne Crevette was the injured player who was assisted off. Charles Wilson in motion, Esiason back. There's Ryan Yarbrough, number 87. His third catch of the season. .7:45 to go in the third quarter.
Well, you know, we saw Jacksonville last year, and some things, or last week, excuse me, and about some things they can build on.
It seems like last year.
Some things they can build on. There's not a lot. I think the Jets can feel good about tonight. They have not played well in special teams. The defense has given up 37 points, and their offense only has one touchdown.
That one, oh boy, Derek Hoskins almost picked it off, intended for Yarbrough. Hoskins, number 20, and the punting unit comes on. But it's not going to get much easier for the Jets either. They've got to go to Buffalo next week.
These Raider defensive backs, I'll tell you, they always rally to the football. The corners play a lot of bump and run. They jam receivers. And the strong safety plays like a linebacker. And then the free safety, Derek Hoskins, just makes up ground like that.
Tim Brown, who has had a memorable evening, is back to return the punt. Ryan Hansen. Fair catch called by Tim Brown. He grabs it at the 15-yard line. Time has been called. We're midway through the third quarter. Long, long night for the New York Jets.
By authority of the National Football League.
And with 7:14 to go, third quarter at the Meadowlands in East Rutherford. And Jeff Hostetler, who has thrown for 3 touchdowns tonight, is back in the cockpit. Hands it off to Harvey Williams. Wilbur Marshall, number 58, makes the tackle and appears to have arrived in an angry mood.
Another good lead block by number 34, Derek Fenner. And there's Wayne Crevette. We just get word he has a bruised knee. Probably will return. But as I watch Fenner, number 34 for the Raiders, I always think about Bo Jackson and what could have been. I mean, Bo Jackson was number 34, and they looked like they were going to have that guy that was going to replace Marcus Allen and just be a dynamic player. And when he got injured, I think that may have cost them at least a Super Bowl or 2. I mean, he was that kind of impact player.
Time has been called now. Derek Fenner and his teammates will get a bit of a rest, and we'll be back to the Meadowlands right after this. 6:34 remaining third quarter. Oakland leading at 37-10. And they're looking now to second down and 7. Backs are split behind Hostetler. He'll hand it off in the sweep to Fenner. Wisniewski leads away, and that's good for a first down near the 28-yard line.
Jim Fossil, the quarterback coach of the Raiders, and everywhere he has gone, and he actually had Hostetler for a while in New York, the quarterback's completion percentage have gone up. And we did it with John Elway, went way up. John Elway had some of his best years statistically under Jim Fossil, and with Jeff Hostetler's completion percentage 66% coming into tonight's ball game. That is his best by a long shot, and he said he's done it numerous times with different quarterbacks around the league.
And 14 of 21 tonight. 3 touchdowns, first and 10. Harvey Williams tries to get by Aaron Glenn, and Glenn drives him out of bounds. Yeah, we got another one going out. I think much of this is derived from frustration.
Yeah, if I were a Jet, I'd be frustrated too, Vern. 37-10. The Raiders have beaten them every which way.
Williams with 14 carries tonight, and you can smile about something like that when you've got a 27-point lead.
Yeah. You know, the Raiders, since Marcus Allen's big year in '85 when he had 1759, they're looking for a guy to be, you know, the load as a running back. A little kick at the end, that's what got it started, I think. Now, Harvey Williams may not, you know, be getting 17 or 1800 yards for them, but he is a very capable back. Oh, there's a face mask. And you combine him with Napoleon Kaufman, and that is a real good mix.
Time has been called. Aaron Glenn is being tended to on the far side. And while we've got a moment, let's take a look at the Coors Light scoreboard. Kansas City wins big in Arizona today. Pittsburgh, they had 2 interceptions returned for touchdowns in that game. And what a thrilling game that Miami-Cincinnati game was.
Well, you kind of felt for David Shula, didn't you?
Yeah.
Boy, he had a chance to win that thing. How about Washington?
And Troy Aikman, in case you didn't hear, went out with a strained calf early in the game.
Marshall Faulk, 177 yards rushing today. A phenomenal afternoon.
If you're a field goal fan, you had to love this one. Gary Anderson kicked 5. If your name was Anderson today, you had a pretty good day kicking field goals.
Yeah, a whole bunch of 5s for the Andersons.
Morton Anderson kicked 5.
Tampa Bay, an improved team.
2nd and 8. Williams does a good job of protecting the ball. He's down at the 35, 36-yard line. Victor Green gets mixed up with things. Marcus Turner is on now, number 23, at one of the corner spots. Aaron Glenn being treated on the bench.
You know, I'm surprised Marcus Turner didn't come in earlier, or Victor Green, and play for Vance Joseph. I mean, Marcus Turner, number 23 for the Jets, is a natural corner. And yet they just started Vance Joseph. He was burned badly, and yet they've hung in there with him.
3rd and 3. Hostetler looking left all the way, and Vance Joseph steps in front of the pass that was thrown low and behind Darryl Hobbs. It'll be 4th down.
I think the Jets need to take a chance or two, special teams wise, whatever. Maybe go for a block punt. I mean, 4:30 left in the third. They're going to have to make something, I think, happen on special teams. And there's their special teams coach, Ken Rose, who was a great special teams player himself. 6 times a special teams captain for various NFL teams.
Flag is down. Here's the Gossett punt. Dexter Carter chases it. It goes out of bounds.
When he directionally punts, I think he is much better, Vern, than when he punts the ball down the middle of the field. He said, you know, this year they got a little different style. They're asking him to punt the ball down the middle of the field more high. But that one he angled, and he's awfully good at that. I think that'll give him a first.
I think so.
Gossett wanted the punting yardage, but the offense will take the first down.
Right.
Offside, number 20 defense lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty, which is enough for a first down.
Richie Anderson, who is kind of on the unfavored nations list anyway for a fumble in the end zone last week. TNT's NFL coverage continues next Sunday with the Coors Light Pro Football Tonight pregame show at 7. 8 o'clock, Denver takes on New England. That's next Sunday, right here on TNT.
People moving early.
Bring this one back.
You know, Vern, at the very beginning of this broadcast, we were talking about the Jets' mistakes. The Jets have been beating the Jets this year. That's why they're 1-3. Miscue after miscue. It happened again on that special teams play. They had them in a punting situation, and the penalty gives them a first down.
False start before the snap. Offensive right tackle. 5 yards. Still first down.
We mentioned, we mentioned what happened coming in today, where they ranked. And there's 30 teams in the league, and the last or nearly last in all these categories. And tonight's game again, they've just made one mistake after another. Fumbled
Underlines
snaps.
the point.
Yeah.
Here's the toss to Napoleon Kaufman.
Put him on the track team. Remember Mike White said, hey, what we're really hoping from Napoleon Kaufman is that in the fourth quarter, when people start to get tired, you bring in a Napoleon Kaufman who has explosive speed. I think this guy, not a little scat back, but can change the game in the fourth quarter this year.
Out of California high schools, and then, of course, the University of Washington, the #1 pick. Listed at 5'8". Great speed. Aaron Glenn back in the lineup at left cornerback. Comes up to play tight. They toss it to Kaufman. And he gains about 3, but he looks dangerous in gaining those 3, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. You know, he's not a small guy either, Kaufman. He is a guy that will stick it in the hole. And there's so many of these guys. And what did Jim Fossil say about him? He said he's kind of a cross between Glenn Milborn at Denver, whom he had, and Dave Meggett, whom he had when he was with the Giants. But he says he's faster than Meggett, and he's a lot stronger than Milburn.
Second down and 8. 37-10 with 3:20 to go, third quarter. Incomplete for Jet. Aaron Glenn, pretty good coverage.
And weren't you surprised when talking about Aaron Glenn or Richie Kotite was when he was talking about Aaron Glenn, saying he was the best corner he had ever seen, and he coached Eric Allen in Philadelphia.
And compared him to Eric Allen. He said, I don't mean any disrespect to Eric Allen, but this kid's better. Eric Allen's going to be angry. Aaron Glenn, out of Texas A&M, #1 pick last year.
Now, in years past, the last 3 years, they have forced the ball to Tim Brown on third down.
Jet and Brown to the right side. This time they hand off inside to Harvey Williams. What a nifty run.
There were a lot of body parts moving on that run. Did you notice that? It wasn't just his feet and legs. His neck, his shoulders, his eyes, his hands, everything were moving. I mean, a 3rd and 8. It's a real change of pace. A big block by Fenner again, number 34. Right there. And terrific vision. And then, boy, he's got some change of direction speed. And these guys they're dangerous.
29-yard gain for Williams. He's got 80 yards on 15 carries now. And the Raiders are threatening again.
Yeah, one thing, though, I think Mike White needs to be thinking about with about 2 minutes left in this third quarter. If they score again, I'm saying get your guys out of there. A lot of your guys, your key guys. Get Hostetler out. I mean, I'd get some of the wide receivers out. Bring in old Vince
Oh,
Evans.
good. What are you saying? Evans is cannon fodder? What is this? Huh?
No, I'm not saying that at all. That's what the backup quarterbacks are supposed to do.
Go in and get
Your turn, Vince. Your turn.
Yo, Vince.
Actually, I am saying you're a cannon fodder.
Yeah. You can't gussy this one up. Here's the handoff. Oh, Vince is going to love you for this. Your former teammate.
Yeah.
At Southern Cal.
The first time I met Vince, or one of the first times I met Vince, believe it or not, this
Roosevelt
guy was,
administration?
He was, yeah, that's it, a sharp dresser, but he had shoes, this is no lie,
right,
that had goldfish in the heels.
Nah.
No, they had little water things in them, and
nah.
live goldfish in the heels of his shoes.
Where do you resole shoes like that?
I don't know, but, you know, he's calmed down his
now we're back to what wine goes with halibut.
What goes with goldfish.
Now that I know. Ripple comes to mind. Hostetler's down. Matt Brock gets the sack.
Oh, boy.
Well, when it's 37-10, your imagination gets stretched or broken.
But you know, for the Jets, it's going to be another ugly Monday.
Yep.
But give Matt Brock and some guys on defense, we don't quit. And there are guys like this in the league every week who are on the inferior teams that just keep playing hard and playing hard and playing hard. And Matt Brock did right there.
Cole Ford for the extra point. The field goal. It's up and good. And the score goes to 40. to 10.
And you know, for the Jets, might be time to see a little bit of Glenn Foley.
Our overhead coverage tonight, courtesy of the Goodyear Blimp Stars and Stripes. On board tonight, Captain Dick Esch from Pompano Beach, Florida, and cameraman Bob Rosedale.
Just ending the season. Well, got a long way to go. As a he's wearing his number 99. I love these guys.
Came out from New Orleans. Oh, the guy blew it. He wanted to go incognito, and he took the.
They know now.
Took the thing off while he was on camera. 76-yard drive in 13 plays.
My kids say send money. This kid's saying send help.
And Cole Ford to kick off. Dexter Carter and Ron Carpenter are deep. Getting lonely in here. Carter. Still going. Out to the 35, 36-yard line.
Hey, Vern, you know, say what you will about Vance Joseph and the kind of night that he has had. He is, A, he was happy that this ball didn't get thrown. But B, after this play, a smile still comes on his face. And I commend him for that, in spite of a difficult evening. Saying, hey, I finally got you this time, Darryl.
Been a tough one. First down and 10. Boomer Esiason still in the quarterback. Blitz coming. Flags are down. Pass incomplete. It was tipped.
Boy, did I see a bunch of tip balls today. I mean, Steve Young had a bunch tipped. More and more prevalent. We saw some last week in Jacksonville. And I bet you I've seen 5 or 6 a game.
That'll be a motion call against the Jets. Vince Evans loosening up the old limb.
16th year in the NFL. Only 36 starts in those 16 years. But
offense, 2 men moving, both not resetting.
A long touchdown pass to Darryl Hobbs a week ago. I think it was over 54 yards, I believe it was. He has always been a phenomenally strong and gifted player.
In the league in parts of 3 decades now. Second and 10. Gravette in motion. Esiason, Andre Bruce.
Boy, jailbreak. It's unfair. It's been unfair for Vance Joseph, and it's been unfair right now for Boomer Esiason. We have a bunch of sacks tonight. 4 on Esiason this evening. And Andre Bruce, number 99, his second of the evening, as he powers through Hasselrig, which is saying something when you're powering through Hasselrig. Boomer has no chance. And the cleanup by Anthony Smith.
Time has been called. 40 to 10. End of 3. The start of the 4th and final quarter, 40 to 10. The Oakland Raiders making their first visit here since they were the Los Angeles Raiders and made this visit in 1989. That was Art Shell's first game as the head coach. Technically, this is the first time the Oakland Raiders have played in this facility. Last time they were here as the Oakland Raiders was 79, and the game was at Shea Stadium. Here's Esiason. Dropped by Wilson at the 50-yard line.
You know, Boomer Esiason's an easy target in this city, but he's had about 4 or 5 passes that should have been caught that were dropped. And that was another one. And that was a 3rd and forever, and they would have had a first down.
Brian Hansen on the punt. Tim Brown back to return it. Fair catch made at the 19-yard line. And we have One of those ubiquitous pieces of yellow down. Vince Evans getting ready to come on, but first we've got Gordon McCarter wants a little airtime here.
These are the games you like to fast forward through the rest of the game for your head coach and just get ready for the next one. You know, there's not a lot of positives that Richie Kotite has for his team after this one.
And of course the Jets have yet to score in the fourth quarter of any game this season. So
oh, thanks for all the hope.
Ineligible downfield, number 84 kicking team. 5-yard penalty, repeat 4th down.
So they'll make the trek back and repunt.
And you know, Vern, for Boomer Esiason, you know, a guy in his 12th year, you know, this was supposed to be a team when he came here 3 years ago that was on the rise. They are not. And to me, for a guy in his 12th year with maybe a few years left, I know it's his hometown, but if he wants the most out of his football career, this is not the place for him.
Well, and he said to us yesterday, I'm not ready for a broadcasting booth because he'll be terrific at that when it happens. But he said nothing I've found can replace the thrill of the playing, what this feels like.
But everybody wants to win a championship, and it's not going to happen, I think, in his career here.
Right. He is in the last year of his contract here.
I think he's going to have to make a decision, and the Jets are going to have to make a decision about where he plays next year. It's going to be a tough one.
The officiating crew marked the penalty in the wrong direction. So they've figured it out.
Even Gordon's getting a little smile out of that one.
And we're back to punt again. Brian Hansen. Tim Brown has moved up to the 35. Fair catch at the 35-yard line. When we return to the Meadowlands, Vince Evans will come on at quarterback. 5 remaining in a game between the Jets and the Raiders in Oakland. NBC left the game to air the children's movie Heidi on the East Coast. What the viewers missed was an amazing comeback as Oakland scored 2 touchdowns in the last 42 seconds of the game, and they beat the New York Jets 43-32. However, the Jets came back and defeated Oakland that same year in the championship game and went on to take on Baltimore, won the Super Bowl, Super Bowl III. Might not be a bad programming idea.
Yeah. Let's get to, what is it?
Police Academy 3. Get that thing stoked up, guys. Warm up the reels. We got 14:38 to go in this one. Vince Evans is the new quarterback. Hugh Douglas, number 99, made the tackle on this
new
one.
old quarterback.
Yes, that's right.
You know, as nice as it is to see Vince come in and play, you think, though, maybe Billy Joe Holbert. I know he's the third-team quarterback, and you have to order him 1, 2, and 3. The young guy, they'd want to give some experience. They think Holbert might be the guy of the future, but it's Vince is in the game, and he played well last week. A long touchdown pass to Darryl Hobbs, and even though he's 40 years old, and Vince is, he can still play, and he has got a live arm.
Eric Ball comes in at fullback. He's the short back in front of Kaufman. 40-10. Kaufman out to the 42-yard line. That'll bring up 3rd down and 5. James Jett hurries on. Oakland goes back home next week to take on Seattle. Then they're at Denver. Mike White said he is having more fun in his first year as an NFL head coach. He coached 2 different spots as a head coach in the collegiate ranks at California and at Illinois.
Well, you know, he coached 37 years before he finally got his head coaching job in the NFL as a head coach. He deserved it a lot sooner.
Eric Ball. And that'll be 4th down.
Just finishing the thought up on Mike White, you know, this is basically the same Raider team a year ago that many people, myself included, picked to go and win the Super Bowl, and they were underperformers a year ago. He has got these guys playing at a very high level, and you know, injuries play such a large part. Who knows what will happen with the injuries? If they play like this, they have guys healthy, they're as good as anybody.
On 4th down. Here's Jeff Gossett. That's a dandy punt. Dexter Carter at the 10. Carter gets it back to the 20-yard line. Carl Kidd, number 46, downfield to make the tackle. Time has been called. 12:32 remaining in this one. On the season, they have a 30-point lead with 12.5 remaining in this one. And we hear a lot about the successful teams over the last 2.5 decades. The 49ers, the Cowboys with their division titles. The Jets, of course, won that Super Bowl III, one of the most historic Super Bowl victories ever. But look down at the bottom. No division titles since then. That's one reason why Jet fans are referred to as long-suffering. Esiason gets rid of it, but then the ball is it complete? Dropped. Charles Wilson, the intended receiver.
Well, we got an old Jet from the 1968 Super Bowl team. John Dockery working the game here for CBS Radio. He was a guy that, remember, he said had missed the Heidi game with an injury. Right,
and was reminding us that in Super Bowl III, he played both offense and defense.
He was the 4th leading receiver on the team that year.
And a 5th defensive back. Here's Esiason and LaFleur. And we told him before the game tonight that if this thing went south, he was going to get on camera. So a little FaceTime for the doc.
Well, Brad Baxter, that guy right there, number 30. I think if the Jets are going to have any kind of season this year, this is a guy that they have to find a bigger role for. Brad Baxter, primarily has been a lead blocker for them, a pass protector, a good short yardage runner, but their long runs this year, I think, are not going to come from speed like the Raiders. They're going to come from broken tackles, and Brad Baxter can break some tackles.
2nd down and 8. Blitz coming. Esiason behind Corbett.
And Brad Baxter picked up somebody there on that blitz.
And Boomer's talking to Corbett.
40,
mix up on the route.
Yeah, 40-10. I think you take Boomer Esiason out. He has nothing left to prove in his 12th season. He is going to take a shot to the legs. Robbins goes low, and I'd bring somebody else in. I really would. Bubby Brister's their backup.
3rd and 8.
And there's something about a quarterback wanting to finish what you start, but not what you're doing by 30.
He goes deep right side. This one is caught and then dropped and picked up. And here comes Mike Jones of the Oakland Raiders. Still running. Touchdown.
Incredible. Well, Mike Jones was a running back in college. He is a converted linebacker. And John Fox, the defensive coordinator, was saying, hey, this guy's really come on. But let's go back to the reception by Wayne Corbett, number 80. This was a pretty good catch to begin it. Fights through some traffic, goes up and catches it, takes the hit, the strip there by the defensive back Mustafa, and then Mike Jones picks it up. And then there's a whole host of Raiders out there trying to help him get along. Get the Beekert, gives him a block, and then he does a lot. He remembered those days as a running back, didn't he?
And the number of yards he traveled equals his jersey number. A 52-yard fumble return for a touchdown. Mike Jones. There's been far too much consolation going on the Jet bench tonight to ease any of the pain. Seven to 10 Oakland after the 52-yard fumble return for a TD from Mike Jones. Bubby Brister getting ready to come on. Backup quarterback last year in Philadelphia, and prior to that, of course, in Pittsburgh. Ron Carpenter, Dexter Carter a deep. Cole Ford's kick taken by Dexter Carter. Out to the 42-yard line. Tackle is made by Bruce Pickens, number 39. Well, 3 turnovers tonight for Richie Kotite and the New York Jets. NFL leaders in takeaways.
Yeah. Raiders 15, scored 2 touchdowns on turnovers last week, 1 tonight. And then the giveaways. Jets 17. The Steelers lead the pack at 18. Steelers only had 1 today. But the Jets defense has now scored 3 touchdowns this season thus far. 1 tonight, 2 last week.
Boomer Esiason for the night, 15 of 30, 171. Sacked 4 times, 1 fumble. Brad Baxter gets the handoff, and he gets it out to the 47-yard line near that logo in the middle of the field. You know, I've been coming here. The first year, I think, was 76. And see the logo in the New Jersey map? Here's tonight's trivia question. This is fourth quarter material. Trivia question. What do the 4 stars stand for in the map of New Jersey? Huh?
San Luis Obispo. That was the answer last week's question.
No, that was Cal Poly Pomona.
Oh, that's right.
I'll give you a little time to think about this. You can do any research you want. 4 stars. What do they represent? I do have the answer.
For a change.
Pass is incomplete.
Ask me a bunch of questions you don't know the answer to.
I have in my hand here the amazing Kreskin. Okay. You ready for this? See that star at the top?
Yes.
Got to circle that. See that guy right there?
Yep.
That is the Meadowlands Complex in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Right there. That one right there. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Number 2, right here.
Yep.
Number 2.
Yeah. What's that one?
That is the Monmouth Park Racetrack.
Ooh,
Did you know that?
I was guessing that was a 3rd star.
We're going to save the 3rd and 4th for the next play.
There you go. Oh, you're useful.
2 down, 2 to go.
Can I borrow you for my Christmas party?
As long as I'm on your gift list. 3rd down into the flat. Morrell. Out of bounds at the 47-yard line. Well,
okay, I'm on the edge of my seat.
Okay, here we go. You ready? Now this is number 3.
Yep.
Right.
We got bodies in the way. There.
Oh, no. Come on, fellas. There we go. Number 3, right there. That's the aquarium.
Okay. All right. That's one of my favorite spots.
Aquarium in Camden.
Boy, a bunch of guys squishing some fish there.
Yeah.
Look at that.
They got goldfish in their shoes. Number 4, right there. Huh?
Okay.
Number 4. That's the Convention Hall in Atlantic City.
Now, tell me now why they're starred.
I have the answer to that, too. Hey, I am a full-service bank. Nice punt. Nice bounce. Down at the 2. And we have a flag down there near the aquarium.
Now, I'm really impressed that you knew those 4, but I'm really going to be impressed if you can tell me why they have those there.
As soon as we give Gordon McCarty some airtime, I'll let you know.
Must be a long answer.
No, I don't want to disrupt it. There we go. The 4 stars. Heretofore unknown stars.
Certainly by me.
5 receiving team during the kick. The penalty will be enforced from the spot where possession change. 1st down.
And the answer is the stars on the New Jersey map represent the facilities that are run by the New Jersey Sports Exhibition Authority.
I thought
only on this broadcast.
Better answer than that.
Only on this broadcast.
46
46 seconds remaining at the Meadowlands. Oakland leading at 47-10, and they are backed up at their own 1-yard line. Now that we've informed you about the stars in the New Jersey map, I'm thinking back, a friend of mine whom you know, longstanding, Joe Cash, back in Dallas. Joe worked with me doing NFL games for years, and he kept trying to get me to get that on the air.
Really?
And Patrick finally did it. Yeah.
I hope it's the last time, Vern.
I thought it was scintillating.
I hope it's the last time we have time for it.
But then I have a very boring life. I don't know guys who wear goldfish in their heels.
Well, there's the guy who's playing quarterback right now.
1st down and 10.
That's a true story.
He's going to love you for bringing it up. I know that. And they move the ball out. Napoleon McCallum does, or Napoleon Kaufman.
There you go.
Thank you. Now out to the 7-yard line.
Well, he is a strong player, a finisher. You know, the thing about Napoleon Kaufman, if they can get him going in the passing game, I think he really is going to be a threat. It's Robert Jenkins.
The left tackle.
Remember, they have lost 2 offensive linemen already. Don Mosbar, perhaps a career-threatening injury to his eye. He's had 4 operations on it, hurt in training camp. And then they lost Gerald Perry, their left tackle. who should be back this year, but they give Joe Bugle even more credit. This is a team that's going to go to 4-1 now with 2 very good offensive linemen, perhaps their 2 best that have been out most of the year.
Nolan Harrison, the defensive end, is also out.
Oh, wow, that's kind of neat.
Hey, that is good. Jeff Gossett.
Man.
That is.
What else can he do for us?
He was a good baseball player. Jeff was. The pride of Grapevine, Texas. You got to come prepared. You never know when you got to empty the bucket.
Good for you. I'm proud of you.
Robert Jenkins. 9.5 to go in this marathon. And Jenkins will get some medical attention on the bench. Kaufman moves it out to the 10-yard line.
Hey, I think congratulations are in order to our erstwhile audio man, Victoria up here. He and his beautiful wife celebrated the birth of Rachel Marissa Victoria this past week. He just handed me It's a Girl candy cane. You see the ingredients in this thing? It says pure sugar, cream of tartar, certified food coloring, and oil of peppermint. Thanks for looking after my health, Victor. I appreciate it. Well, congratulations.
Congratulations, Vic.
Nice ingredients, huh?
Oil of tartar, cream of tartar. We can't get away from fish tonight, can we? Here's Kaufman. Out to the 16-yard line. I think I'm more concerned that you were looking at that than anything else. And Napoleon Kaufman a little slow getting up. Boy, he is he's a dandy back.
Well, again, he's their alternate back, not that third down back, and he can dart and he's got great vision. I mean, he sees things, and then he has some strength to finish off the run. Makes a couple of good cuts, but it ended with power.
Harvey Williams comes on. Kaufman limping a little bit as he comes to the bench. And here's Harvey Williams out near the 28-yard line. Ron Carpenter, number 26, makes the tackle. Harvey Williams nearing a 100-yard night.
Well, look at that. This is what the Jet defense has given up in rushing. And it started with 114 with the Dolphins, and it's got progressively worse, 172 yards. That's a testament to Joe Bugle and that offensive line, and obviously a very big lead.
First down and 10, backs in the eye. Kaufman. Oh, what a run. What a nifty move.
Man. And what did Mike White say? In the fourth quarter, which it is now, he's going to look even more explosive and faster because guys are tired. And again, this is an explosive move. He has got suddenness about him. A 28-yard run that was designed to go off left tackle. Just kind of scoots, darts, ducks under some people, bounces off Kevin Gogan, and then steps out of bounds very casually and calmly.
And for Kaufman now, 86 yards on 6 carries. Williams has 97 yards on 18, and Williams is back in the lineup. This one they catch for a loss at the 46-yard line. Lou Benfatti, number 78. And another little skirmish breaks out. Kevin Gogan's a big guy to be arguing with. Gogan, who played with the Cowboys for a number of years. For an in-depth look at today's NFL action, stay with us following the game for the Steel Pro Football Tonight postgame report. Vince Cellini, Mark May, and Warren Moon have the stories covered, and Ernie Johnson will have interviews with the stars from tonight's game. We're 5:50 away from that spot. Fumble. So indicated by the Jets, but not indicated by the officiating crew.
Let's see, the Raiders don't have any turnovers tonight, 0, in a very efficient game. This is the new Raiders. They didn't just leave Los Angeles. They left a style of play about them. That style was a lot of penalties and mistakes, and Joe Bugel and the rest of this offensive staff have really done a nice job of putting together some guys, basically the same guys they had a year ago. So we give Mike White and Joe Bugel and Jim Fossil and the rest of those guys a lot of credit, because this is a much better team.
Looked like the Raiders may have moved.
Well, Steve Wisniewski was talking about Joe Bugel to us this week and said, you know,
false start before the snap. 88 offense, 5 yards, still 3rd down.
Wisniewski was saying about Bugel, you know, he didn't come from the old school. He come from the original school, way back. I mean, this guy, he says he's not interested in the money or anything. All he cares about is his guys, his offensive linemen. And if you do things right, he's not afraid to come up and give you a big hug. I mean, he loves the game.
And loves the guys he coaches.
Yeah.
3rd down. Here comes Eric Ball on the sweep to the left. Gogan is there to help provide a little bit of an escort. And then gets into a shouting match with Matt Brock.
Rich Stevens, the tackle right there, was getting in a shouting match. And as you mentioned with Brock, and Brock was saying, hey, I knocked you down. And Rich Stevens just kind of pointed to the scoreboard, which is always the best answer.
4th down. Dexter Carter back.
There you go, you ought to be in. Easy win here, easy win.
That one is way up in the air.
I'd rather see him kick it directionally. I mean, he is so good kicking the ball directionally, and they got a little different style kicking it down the middle, but you know, Pat Swilling has been one of these guys we've talked about, his career reborn with the Raiders, and he has had a very good evening. It started in the first quarter when they tried to run a bootleg against him, and he was not fooled. And then he had a different kind of move, a power move, right over the left tackle Willard. And then on the run game, he was pretty tough as well. And it's the nose thing. I'm telling you, this nose thing really works.
They may have Tim Brown wearing it
soon, I'm sure.
Here comes Adrian Morrell around the right side, out of bounds at the 26-yard line. Jets, as we said, it doesn't get much easier. They've got to go to Buffalo next week. Then they're at Carolina. Miami comes in here for a home game in 3 weeks. Then they travel to Indianapolis. Just not a very good team.
No. And the Raiders are. I mean, we saw Dallas against Minnesota. They were up, but between Dallas and Oakland, these are the 2 best teams we have seen this year.
Right. Bubby Brister, the quarterback. The handoff goes to Morrell. And he cuts back to his right. That's Adrian Morrell's 14th carry for 89 yards.
You know, the Raiders were the last AFC team to win a Super Bowl in 1983, and Jim Plunkett was the quarterback of that Raider team, and now an announcer for Raider broadcast. There he is. We've got to put the headsets on there, though, Jim.
Jim, you're on the air.
Yeah.
Jim. Jim.
There he goes. Now he knows he's on. There he goes. But boy, was he a player. And we're talking about a guy getting his career resurrected by the Raiders.
Yes.
Remember? I mean, he was beaten up so badly with the Patriots. His career was virtually over. The Raiders pick him up, and then one season he didn't play one down for the Raiders. He put him on the bench and let him kind of recover. The next year, he led him to his first of 2 Super Bowls. So he had a terrific career both at Stanford and certainly with the Raiders. Former Heisman Trophy winner for the then Indians.
That's
now the Cardinal.
See?
Yeah,
you got a full bucket.
Hey, babe. Just in case you needed it.
I'm worried about Jim not having that headset on. Yeah. He's working with Joel Myers over there. Joel's carrying the load here. 47-10. But Joel doesn't know what those stars represent.
I'm glad I do now.
2:50 to go in this one.
Raiders have some good young linebackers. That time it was James Folston, number 55. You're looking at Aaron Wallace, number 51. Folston's had a couple of nice plays. Had a sack of Esiason, or certainly a big hit on him. There's Holmberg. Good team with depth. And in this marathon of an NFL season, you need some depth. They have it in the defensive line. They certainly have it at linebacker.
3rd and 11. Mister almost picked off by Holmberg. It'll be 4th down. And Brian Hansen comes on to punt.
I'm not sure where Richie goes with this team, Vern. I mean, I really don't know what you can do when you don't have a game breaker. I mean, they're going to maybe have trading deadlines come up. Somebody's, I think they're going to need somebody in the wide receiving category.
Right.
To get the game open.
Hansen's punt over Tim Brown. And that will go into the end zone, touch back, and come out to the 20-yard line. As we near the 2-minute warning, we've got 2:05 remaining in this one. Well, we stay back east a week from tonight. We'll be up at Foxborough.
Yeah.
The Denver Broncos, who lost today, and the New England Patriots, who lost today. But
yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing Bill Parcells this week. He's going to be a lot of fun, isn't he?
Oh, and Mike Shanahan will be in a great mood. Yeah.
How about this AFC West? This is a competitive division, and every team seems to have a nemesis. You know, the Raiders can't beat Kansas City. Kansas City, I think, has a tough time with Denver. There it is. I knew it was coming.
I knew you were going somewhere with that.
I knew it was going to happen. Look at that. Chargers have won the 9 of 11 against the Chiefs, but boy, they really go after one another.
Here comes Kaufman out across the 20 near the 23-yard line, and we have reached the 2-minute warning. Only 120 seconds left in this one. 47-10. Chatting with us last night about the coaching staff he's assembled with the Raiders, and he was talking about Joe Bugle, the former coach of the Arizona Cardinals, longtime assistant coach with the Redskins. Bishop Harris. It is a good staff. Floyd Peters.
Yeah, they've done a real nice job. John Fox. They got a good mixture of young coaches like John Fox, their defensive coordinator, Jim Fossil, the coaches of quarterbacks, and some guys who've been around the league a long, long time.
Joe Bugle and his wife Brenda, two of the more refreshing people you'll meet in this league. Their 3 daughters have now moved back to the Phoenix area, all still living there where Joe was employed for a while as head coach of the Cardinals. Here's Kaufman. And Napoleon Kaufman is also nearing the 100-yard mark.
Well, don't blame you, pal.
Now, I remember 25 years ago when ABC took a shot during an Oakland-Houston game of a guy like this in the Astrodome, right? And they got a surprise.
Yeah,
the guy woke up.
And we're number 1.
And, yes, he indicated his
team was number 1. Yeah.
Meredith caught that one. And the trouble is that guy's flight leaves in an hour. 1:20 to go. .216 yards rushing tonight for the Oakland Raiders.
Well, I'll tell you, AFC, watch out for these Raiders. So much of it depends upon the health of your quarterback in particular, and everybody has that same risk. But this is a team that can go all the way.
Executive producer of Turner Sports, Mike Pearl. The NFL on TNT is produced by Peter Lasser and directed by Lonnie Dale. Pro Football Tonight produced by Tim Kiley, and the coordinating director is Larry Cam. Our host producer Ken Noland, replay producer Jeff Benke, technical director Dennis Stone, the associate directors Gary Nicholas and Joe Vencius, the senior unit managers Stephanie Bradley, the graphics Ted Ballard and CJ Batita, the spotter Nancy Lundquist, and the stats David Yagi. Shannon Mizell, world's greatest stage
You got
manager.
it.
Mike White and the Oakland Raiders, 47-10. They win this one. That makes that 5.5-hour trip back west much more palatable.
He's going to enjoy that Chardonnay.
No, he's going to have some Pinot Grigio. Tim Brown, the player of the game, 9 receptions, 156 yards. He is our Cadillac player of the game with an average of 17.3, 2 touchdowns, and a couple of punt returns that were also significant. 47-10. Maybe a little Sauvignon Blanc.